From San Francisco, the site of Super Bowl 60, Westwood One Sports presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Welcome in to Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, noon to 3 Eastern each and every day right here on Westwood One Sports. If you want to join the show today, you can call us at 310-840-4910, live from Radio Row in San Francisco. Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you for the next 3 hours. And we're having a great time as we prepare for Super Bowl 60. The Patriots and the Seahawks get set to face off on Sunday. A lot of action today already. Day 2 here at the Media Center as we get set for the Super Bowl in downtown San Francisco. Lots going on already here in downtown San Francisco today.
Different energy today on a Tuesday than it was on a Monday. You could tell a lot more people came in yesterday than there were today here. So now there's a different vibe here today. You can tell it ramps up a little more every single day as we get closer and closer to the Super Bowl, as we get closer to game day. And now this place is alive. It's Radio Row, Media Row.
No.
I was told. No, I know. I was watching.
Raj.
Hi, Raj. I was watching the local news yesterday.
The late local news?
I was watching. Well, it wasn't late. It was like the 5 o'clock news. And and just to get a local flavor of downtown San Francisco, of the city of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they were doing like the live shot from in here, and it was like they did the local toss, and she goes,
the old local toss.
She's like, well, I'm live here from what used to be called Radio Row, but now it's, as you can see behind me, Media Row. And like, because you can watch us live on YouTube now, youtube.com/@BleckandAbdalla show. So, and because there's a ton of media here, it's everything. We're on YouTube. There's a bunch of TV stations here, so it's not just Radio Row. That was the local flavor that they were getting from the media here at the Radio Row in the Super Bowl.
I would say essentially in this conference center, the room is kind of along the walls. Every single spot is a different television set.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, Gen Pop, it's all of us radio folks. Now, right now, for the first 2 hours of the show, if you're watching Bleck and Abdalla on the YouTube stream, Bleck and Abdalla show, like and subscribe to our channel. We are right now, for the first 2 hours of the show, every day this week, we're on the big TV set.
Yeah.
This is where Rome will broadcast from. This is where Costos was broadcasting from this morning. So we're on the TV set. And then we go to the radio set for the final hour of the broadcast as the Rome set takes over, which is awesome. To see Jim Rome in action is incredible, and see the setup and everything. So we make way, and we have our final hour at the back table in Gen Pop. Yeah. And like, that's kind of the way it is you see all of all the television partners have their big setups around the outside of the room. And in the middle, it's just a free-for-all of radio stations around the country, smaller podcasts. Everyone's just in the middle. And it's a lot of fun. It's cool. And it's pretty neat to see the expansive TV sets that are built all around us. Like Threads, which I don't know anyone who uses Threads.
Well, no one's using it right now because the set's empty. So.
Threads has a set that would rival like NBC, ESPN, and all of the big dog TV sets.
It's pretty sick.
Threads has an incredible set. I haven't seen one person over there.
There's no one
in 2
over
days.
there. Well,
but
I think
they've got it.
I think that's a proper metaphor for Threads, though.
Yeah, it's the amount of people that actually use that social media
I feel like
platform.
this is a cover. Abdalla's up late at night on Threads.
He's
threading.
Is that what you say? I'm threading?
Threading?
Instead of like
not,
tweeting,
I'm making it up right
is
now.
that what they say?
So
let me tell you about Caleb Williams, guys.
I will say it definitely, each moment that we're here longer since when we arrived on Sunday, it feels like more amped up.
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely an energy here in San Francisco. Last night was media night, which was pretty cool. And that was held down in Santa Clara. There's a lot going on here in the city. And it's just a really good time. And then for all those who are on the East Coast or in the Midwest listening to Bleck and Abdalla, the weather out here is beautiful. I think locals would probably complain, saying it's a chilly low 50s right now, but the sun is out, and Abdalla and I are thriving as two individuals who usually broadcast from the city of Chicago, where the temperature hasn't risen above 10 in the last month. This is beautiful. I love this. I love the Northern California sun on my face as we walk to the convention center.
Yeah, it was great to not have to wear a jacket. The jacket is still in the closet in the hotel room, so have not had to break it out yet. Still wearing a sweater though. I'm still wearing because that's all because I wore, I didn't want to have to wear the jacket.
You look chilly.
No, I'm not. I'm warm now.
You look like a chilly boy.
I'm warm now. Don't worry about my core temperature.
You look like you're a little chilly.
Don't worry about my core temperature. Okay, you're wearing this is like a little thermal.
Yeah, I think it's a waffle.
It's a waffle
shirt.
A waffle.
Isn't that what they call that?
It's a thermal.
It's a thermal.
That's what a waffle is, isn't it?
I don't know. That sounded a bit old timey to call it a thermal.
That's what they're called.
It's what my grandfather would have said.
That's what they're called.
You wear a thermal with your long johns.
That's what it's called.
What he would say.
That's what it's called.
I think that's what he would say.
You typed in waffle to find that?
No, my wife bought it. I don't. Do you think I shop?
My wife.
Do you think I shop for
anything
I wear?
I think you do. I think you went in. I think you went in. You said I need a black shirt. I think I need a nice waffle top.
I'm on Fanatics trying to buy a jersey for the Super Bowl.
You're the one.
And they don't have any sold out. And then I see a statement where they're essentially blaming Patriots and Seahawks fans for buying too much gear, and that's why they've run out because they didn't expect the Patriots or the Seahawks to be good. Like that's essentially the statement that they released yesterday.
The statement yesterday sounded like they slipped up and accidentally said some rap lyrics that they shouldn't have said. Like, what was that statement yesterday? We're listening to you, the fan.
Yeah.
And we understand your concern. And here at the Fanatics family, we understand our mistake and we're doing some inner work on ourselves.
Yes,
it's like y'all screwed up the jerseys. Just admit it. Everything you guys touch is bad. Like you made the nameplate smaller. Yeah. You messed up the jerseys. The quality is bad. Like,
everything is gray. Like why is every option for the Patriots a gray option?
Yeah, like, you have the opposite of the Midas touch. You have whatever that is. It's the opposite. You make everything you touch bad. Like stop it. What happened to good jerseys? Like you make everything worse. Stop doing it, but people keep buying them.
Yeah,
like, that's
true.
The problem is people keep buying them, and the problem is Fanatics.
Well, what else
buying
are you gonna do?
Well, Fanatics. Well, that's the problem. Fanatics owns everything. Like they own everything. So if you want any apparel, you have to go through Fanatics. Any team shop, have to go through them.
Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, hanging out with you all week long from Radio Row. Sean Merriman will join us in about 10 to 15 minutes. Right here on Radio Row. One thing that I want to get to as we start the show, news broke today that Robert Kraft will not get into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot, much like Bill Belichick last week will not get into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. I think this is clearly a situation where the voting process may be flawed, but also the reporters and those who vote have their last say. And they didn't like the way the Patriots handled their business when they were winning. And this is now the punishment that they will serve. And albeit it's not that big of a punishment because both will make the Hall of Fame. It's just not on the first ballot. How do you think that is? Because I think it's the writers and those voting holding the Patriots accountable for Deflategate and for Spygate.
I mean, I still think it's dumb. I think that just as much as it is dumb when Bill Belichick didn't get in, this is just as bad because Robert Kraft not only did it then, he also is now doubling down and reinvested again for a third time. Like they had 2 runs with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And now he's doing it again. Like he didn't have to reinvest and spend a bunch of money. Like we see owners all the time that get their couple rings or 1 or 2 rings. He had 6 of them and was like, no, I want more. And reinvested and put a bunch of money into the team and fired Gerard Mayo after 1 year, paying out that contract, hired Mike Vrabel, went and spent a bunch of money this year, and is now back in the Super Bowl. And however way they got there, you can critique it and say some of it's luck, some of it's charmed, whatever you want to say. The fact is that they spent money, and he's an owner that keeps wanting it and keeps wanting more and more and more championships and will spend and will also dictate spending to his football people, will not meddle as an owner and say, I think that these are the players we should get, and will dictate football decisions to football people. He is a great football owner. and will allow football people to make good decisions and hire good coaches, and they draft well and they spend well and they sign well. And he's absolutely a first ballot Hall of Fame owner, but these writers think that they're holier than thou. And yeah, okay, they got caught cheating. Everybody cheats. They just got caught. And yeah, you get punished for cheating, I guess, but everybody knows he's a Hall of Famer. They're going to get in. Okay. Like, Tom Brady's going to get in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. He better. Otherwise, that's a problem.
Well, I mean,
like, that's a problem.
At that point, it's kind of like the conversation we had last week. Why have a Hall of Fame if the best head coach, best quarterback, the best owner of the best franchise in the NFL can't get into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot? What's the point? Because, like, you're right. Tom Brady will get in. And if he didn't, that's a much bigger story than I think what we're seeing with Kraft and Belichick. Because, like, for the most part, there's limited owner coaches that get into the Hall. And there's also a precedence set for owners, of coaches who are great that didn't get on the first ballot. Like, didn't we talk about Bill Walsh last week? Did not get in on the first ballot.
Yeah.
So, and there's many coaches in the NFL that have had great success and are Hall of Fame worthy who are also not in. We talked about Mike Shanahan. We talked about Holmgren.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about different coaches who are waiting to get in. So I don't think it's that big of a I find it frustrating because to me, Hall of Fame stuff is yes or no. It's very easy. I think when you start having to debate whether or not the guy is in or isn't in, you're like not really a Hall of Famer, because it should be something that when you watch, you think of it in the moment. Mm-hmm. And so with Brady, if you are not voting him in as a first ballot Hall of Famer, you're nuts. And you shouldn't have a vote. And I think that's just the way to look at it.
Well, I just don't understand this idea of like Hall of Fame jail, where like you're putting Belichick and Robert Kraft in this like Hall of Fame jail for a year.
Yeah.
Because they cheated. Like, they're gonna, what are you holding them from? They're gonna get in. They're gonna get in either next year, the year after. So unless you're keeping them out completely, like the baseball writers have with steroid users, you're not really doing anything but bringing shame on yourself, because now we're critiquing the voters. Now we're critiquing the process. Now we're critiquing the Hall of Fame. You know, I know that like Roger Goodell had to answer questions about this at his press conference and said, undoubtedly, Bill Belichick is a Hall of Famer. Well, of course he is. Everybody knows he's a Hall of Famer, but now these writers are being critiqued, and these 11, voters are critiqued about it. And Bill Polian was, questioned about his speech during the Hall of Fame, and then he was questioned about his vote, and he had to come out and say that he voted and had to prove that he voted for Bill Belichick and all this kind of stuff. And now everybody's being asked about it here this week at Super Bowl Radio Row and everything. So it does nothing for anybody other than hurt the reputation of the Hall of Fame to delay the fact that these guys haven't gotten in.
Did you get your question in to Roger Goodell last night?
No, I didn't.
You were waiting there with your little press hat?
I had the press hat with the little piece of paper in that said press.
No, he said he wasn't going to ask a question. He was going to make a statement.
It wasn't a question. It was more of a statement.
Hello, sir. I would like to ask a question from the back. My name's Adam Abdalla from Westwood One Sports.
I don't see an aggro Craig here yet, so...
I'm here, and I would like to ask a question to Roger Goodell.
The dunk tank is being set up, I heard, as we speak, so maybe we're going to get that.
So you wanted to make a statement that the NFL should scrap the Pro Bowl games.
Yes, which
in lieu of a media version of Double Dare.
I would say I'm even more justified, as we found out yesterday that Justin Fields was invited to the Pro Bowl. And
Justin Fields,
how about
baby.
that? Okay, and respect to Justin Fields for declining the invitation.
So he is not a Pro Bowl quarterback.
He's not a Pro Bowl quarterback. Yeah,
he was asked,
which is ridiculous.
The invitation.
He played in 9 games. They won 2 of those games. He accounted for 11 touchdowns. He threw 7 touchdown passes. He ran in for 4 touchdown passes. Like, this is insane.
That's the list that I want moving forward. I want the list of the players who said no to the Pro Bowl. Right? Like, that's the list you want.
Well, here's the thing.
Because those are the guys who are worthy.
But now
and
Fields
they're like,
is on that list.
I'm too good to do that. And but I have respect for him for saying I'm not a Pro Bowl.
You know that Justin Fields doesn't have any incentives tied to the Pro Bowl in his contract.
Well,
otherwise he would have said yes.
It's true, right?
Like, that's the only reason he said no, is because there's no Pro Bowl incentives in his contract.
A little Pro Bowl bonus,
Yeah,
perhaps.
because otherwise he would have said, yeah, give me that $100,000 or whatever the Pro Bowl bonus is.
If he had said yes, I would have bought you guys the Fanatics AFC branded Justin Fields gear.
Speaking of it, we spent a lot of time hanging out here at the convention center yesterday. I didn't see a spot to buy any Pro Bowl gear. I would
It's got to be around here
NFC
somewhere.
stuff.
Yeah, we
God.
want gear.
It's got to be around here somewhere.
It's Bleck and Abdalla live from Radio Row. Sean Merriman will join us coming up next. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen during the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with early exit.
Here's how it works. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. If you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code B&A for Bleck and Abdalla. That's code B&A, all one word. Turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states and present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until February 8th, 2026.
It's the biggest game on the planet, and we are there all week long, broadcasting live from good old San Fran, site of Super Bowl 60 on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
It's Bleck and Abdalla live from Radio Row on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app in downtown San Francisco, hanging out with you, getting you set for Super Bowl 60, the Patriots and the Seahawks. Sean Merriman now joins Bleck and Abdalla here on Radio Row. What's up, Sean? How are you?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
I'm excited for the game this weekend. I think we have a great matchup, Patriots and Seahawks. What do you think?
Well, great matchup as far as who's going to actually win, or like what's going to be like.
Well, I mean, like for all the lead up and for what we're doing all week and talking about, there's a lot of juicy storylines.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of storylines coming out of this one, and Mike Vrabel, somebody who I played against for a long time, and him going back to his franchise, getting a chance to go to there's a lot of cool.
Yeah,
stories. I don't think the story ending is going to be cool, but I think there's a lot of cool stories at least lead up.
What's impressed you most about the Seahawks defense this season?
Just how they can get after you up front. I mean, these guys flying around, and a lot of times you look, they're not scheming you or doing a lot of exotic things. They can beat you with their four-man front up front. They can get after you with that front seven and relieve a lot of pressure from the secondary. But, man, it's just – I think that's from the head coach and just his mentality kind of trickling down, right? I played for great offensive coaches with offensive mind. I played for great defensive-minded coaches like Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah.
And you can tell, man, it trickles down into that locker room on the importance of defense.
When you look at this matchup and you see the defensive conversation about it, having two defensive-minded head coaches get to this point, something that we've talked about here on the show for the last 2 weeks is every team that fires a coach, the number one thing they start talking about is who's the new play caller we can go hire, offensive-minded guy. Yet we have the example here of two defensive-minded head coaches who have gotten their team to the Super Bowl. Are other teams overlooking great defensive coordinators who are out there who should be leading teams right now in the NFL?
I think so, and I think that you're going to start seeing a lot of changes in really the coaching hiring. And now you're going to see the Jesse mentors. You're going to start seeing these young, up-and-coming defensive-minded coaches because, mind you, you get an offensive coordinator who can scheme everything up. You look great anyway. But I think the mentality of having, and I was just with North Turner the other day. We went to go have cigars out in Vegas. We caught up. But you start to see the attitude in the team because of how the head coach's mindset and what's important to them, right? Tackling, being aggressive, turnovers, takeovers. You start to look at these things that trickle down. There's going to be more defensive coaches with defensive mindsets as head coaches, and then go out and find your next great offensive coordinator.
When you look at a guy like Sam Darnold, who had a lot of giveaways during the regular season, but didn't turn the ball over. Had a great game in the NFC Championship game. If you're a coach like Mike Vrabel, how are you going to attack him in the Super Bowl? How are you going to go after him?
You got to hit him. If you look at Sam Darnold, when he gets hit and when he's pressured, his accuracy goes way down. His being able to complete a pass goes way down. You got to hit him. Even if you don't get a sack on him, you got to stay in his face because his numbers drop drastically. Now, that being said, they're great at play action, right? So you start getting after them and pressuring them up front, and they starting to run the ball well, and then they hit you with a play action. That's when those deep balls happen downfield. So if you're Mike Vrabel, you got to be a little careful in this game and how aggressive you are, especially early on, because you don't want to get worn down and start hitting with those big plays and playing from behind. Because you play from behind these guys, you're not getting back in front. I don't want to take a shot at Drake May in that offense. Yeah. But they're not the type of offense that if they get down by a couple touchdowns, they can just jump right back in the mix.
Okay, when you were playing your secondary, the guys that were behind you, how would you scheme up and try and stop a receiver like Jackson Smith and Jigba? Because I think the one thing that we've seen throughout this playoff run, you could argue that he is the best wide receiver in football, if not one of the 2 or 3 best wide receivers in football. And I think what they've done really well on the TV broadcast is explain the reason he's so difficult to stop. I think Tom Brady is the one that was talking about it. His pad level doesn't change when he's breaking out of his routes. So, when you're in coverage and when the guys behind you are in coverage, how do you stop someone like that?
It's difficult because, and I'll take it a step further, and I've played with some great wide receivers, but somebody like Antonio Gates was as big as he was. Yeah. One of the biggest things to do with him was to cover him out of his break. You don't know where the hell he's going, and he can get in and out quick shift as big as he was. Then you got somebody like him at the wide receiver position that there's no breaking down 2-3 steps. He's dropping and he's off.
Right.
And normally with guys like that, you have to press them up close, try to get them to beat you deep, and hopefully that the pass rush gets to the quarterback before they can throw a perfect deep ball. That's what I would do. I would not play the game of sitting back on him because he can torch you in the phone booth any given day. You don't want to play that game. Press coverage, make him go over top, and hope that your pass rush can get there. Your pass rush can get there, so it's not a big play.
And a guy like Drake May too, who at times he uses his legs occasionally, but we saw it in the AFC Championship game. He scored the only touchdown with his legs. How do you keep that in mind when you're attacking him?
That anytime you're in man coverage, you turn your back, know that he can take off anytime, right? Because if they seen some success with that, which they did the last game, and that's really what was a big part of them winning. Now as a defensive coach coming in this game, anytime we're in man coverage, we turn our back. We need somebody. If he starts hitting us with using his legs, we got to stop this immediately because I think that's going to be the game plan with Vrabel. Keep that offense on the field as long as possible. Mm-hmm. Run the football. Tell Drake May, you just scored with your legs last week. We won that game. Go pick up some more yards with your legs. Let's keep the clock churning. And that's how they're going to stay in this game because you do not want to get in a shootout. They already showed – Seattle showed against the Rams. They can score. They got no problem with scoring. And so you don't want to get in the shootout with them.
Who's the one quarterback when you were playing that was the major concern for you when you were on the field?
It's so weird, man, because Ben Roethlisberger would do it.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't fast, but he was very smart with the football.
Tough to take down,
take down. And so you get him in open field, thinking you got him. You're grabbing him down. You think he's falling. You look up, and the crowd is yelling because he just completed a 20-yard pass. You're pissed.
Right.
And he used to get under my skin so much because I'm like, man, they're cheering for me. I got this sack. No, they're not. He just completed the ball 20 yards down the field. So I would say him. Steve McNair was another one.
Oh, yeah.
He's another one that hurt you with his legs. Not just short, like picking up 5 or 10 yards, like the 20-yard ones plus that he would get. But you got to keep that under wraps. But I would test them a little bit to see if they're willing to do it.
What if you see a guy in the NFC like Caleb Williams who can just escape everything and then makes those crazy passes?
Well, the good and bad thing about facing guys like that is that they can do it, but every play is not going to be miraculous.
Yeah.
So you got to think those scrambles are going to be turned into 12-yard losses. Some of those just going to be big negative plays. You can live with that because you rather somebody try to be Superman to beat you than somebody extremely disciplined. They know when to get rid of the ball. They're not taking unwarranted sacks. I don't like to play against those guys. I like the ones that want to make the big play down the field because I know I can get a sack that way.
Right. They hold on to the ball a little longer, and it gives you a chance. A storyline with New England throughout the playoffs, left tackle Will Campbell has struggled. If you're on the other side and you see that, what are you thinking as a pass rusher? How do you maximize that opportunity, and how do you take advantage of a young player in the biggest game of his life?
Vrabel is no fool. He's been there. You know when guys are struggling, when they need help. So I can't see a tight end not staying in to hit a pass rusher on the way out. A running back chipping off the edge before he gets out into his route late. Some kind of bunch coverage or motion to cover that up. You do everything you can, especially in the game of this magnitude, to disguise or hide your biggest weaknesses. And that's the only reason why I'm giving New England a chance to win this game, because Vrabel has been there. And when you know guys are struggling with your weak points, you normally can fix them in games like this.
So when you have a quarterback like Sam Darnold, or excuse me, like Drake May, who's taken 5 sacks a game in the playoffs, and he's taken a ton of sacks so far this season, if he's your quarterback, how do you explain to him, hey, we need to change this, and we need to change this fast in 2 weeks? This is the biggest game of the year. How do you coach that out of him in just 2 weeks?
You let him know that 5 sacks ain't gonna get you a win this game. Not the game this magnitude. And you don't want to go in there and tell him to play safe, because one thing you don't, and Vrabel said this during this press conference, it's just another game we got to win.
Yeah.
And that was the mentality in New England when he was there. This is just another game we got to go out and win. We got to go out and scheme, be disciplined, do all these little things to help us go out and win. Not we got to start doing something different because it's the Super Bowl. We got here by these things. Now, Vrabel got to let him know, like, you're not going to take 5 sacks. We're not winning this game with 5 sacks, because they can score. They can put points on the board. So it's about running the football, chewing the clock up, very little mistakes, stay in the game so you have a chance to win it at the end. That to me is why I'm even giving New England a shot to win this game, because of Vrabel, his experience, being in these big games, and what he's learned over his, not only just his coaching years, but also his playing years.
Sean Merriman with Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, hanging out for a couple more moments. I do want to, I assume that you're picking Seattle the way this conversation has gone, right? That's the top. That's how we've kind of laid this out, is that we expect Seattle to win, and it might not be that close. I think you've given good reason to how the Patriots can keep things close. What has to happen on the other side of it for Seattle to lose this game? What happens? And the thing that we keep pointing to is Sam Darnold not playing well.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think it's they are the team that's every category leans towards Seattle. What do you think?
Same thing. I mean, you hit Sam Darnold enough. If you look at the numbers, his passing rate and how accurate he's been, it's a big drop. You know, when he's play action, he's clean. He's like top 4 or 5 passer in the NFL.
Yeah.
When he gets hit, he's like at the bottom 4. And it's that big of a drop off. And so if you got an opportunity to win this game, even if you don't sack him, you have to stay in his face, because a lot of quarterbacks, and I can talk it from experience, even when you hit them enough, you don't get a sack, they get those happy feet, right? So I just think that,
One last thing, Sean, before we let you go. The Pro Bowl games, you were a 3-time Pro Bowler. What do you think of the kind of joke that it's become, where you have Shedeur Sanders in there? Justin Fields was asked to be a participant, and he said no. Like, what do you make of this? You celebrate your career, the fact that you are a 3-time Pro Bowler is awesome, right? Like, it means something. Doesn't mean anything anymore.
It doesn't. And, I said this earlier, and I didn't want to make it about Shedeur itself. It's just a process in general. I mean, guys are being asked, regular guys, Justin Fields, come on. I mean, I'm not, and it's not a shot at them. It's just that there's no prestige anymore. There's no want to. There's no honor of being one of the best in the world.
Thank you, Sean. We appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks,
Sean Merriman hanging out with Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We'll be back with more live from Radio Row in San Francisco.
You're talking Super Bowl this week, and we're living it live from San Francisco, grabbing the stories, the guests, and the moments that matter on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Bleck and Abdalla Show. We're live streaming all week, live from Radio Row. We just talked to Sean Merriman. Ross Tucker will join us in 20 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Live from Radio Row in downtown San Francisco, getting set for Super Bowl 60, the Seahawks and the Patriots.
Sean Merriman's like the same size as Abdalla. They're like, you almost can't.
You know, it's
distinguish the two of
surprising
them.
that
If
he
you've
was
got
that
two Abdallas standing on
No, I was going to say it was that surprising. He was that successful in the NFL with him being the same size as me.
He doesn't look like a Pro Bowl linebacker at
You know,
all.
That's why
There ain't no chance.
he walked right past the set. We almost missed him because we're the same size.
yeah.
I was
No
like,
sarcasm at all here.
Sure.
I was like,
Gosh,
man,
what a
lights out
guy.
indeed.
Okay,
Huge.
so yesterday we spent most of the day inside here at the convention center. Today, I'm going to get outside at one point. I'm going to get outside. Are you going to attack the gym? I know you're a big gym bro.
No.
Are you going to get
No.
Raj, you think Abdalla's
No.
going to get into the
At
gym
no
at some
point,
point
at no
today?
point am I going to attack anything.
You're
I'm
not
gonna attack some soup.
You're not
That's
going to
what
go
I'm gonna
through.
do.
Okay, so to update folks here in San Francisco, on Bleck and Abdalla, Abdalla likes to bring to the table Super Week.
Super week.
Last night you had your first bowl.
I did. It was actually a cup, to be fair. Because that's the measurement of soup.
Sure.
It's either a cup or a bowl.
Oh, we got to be fair. on this
Last
show.
night, we went to ScoMa's on the wharf. No free pub.
Good pick, Black.
Yeah, good
Thank
pick
you.
by
pick.
Chris Bleck.
Yeah, it's a
That
good
place was
spot.
solid.
It was great.
Good spot.
Had the wild shrimp bisque. It was great. Had the review is on Twitter at Adam A. Abdalla.
Oh wow! Wow, hold on. You're saying we have to go to?
No,
your
I'm giving it.
platforms?
I'm giving it right here. I'm
Oh,
gonna give it
okay.
right here. If
I
you want
thought-
to see a picture of it, it's right there. The picture's on there. And this is a radio medium here. I can't.
Oh,
Didn't
describe
bring.
it.
I mean, it looks like a bisque. I don't know what to tell you. It's a bisque.
Was
It's
it
shrimp.
creamy?
Yes, it was creamy. It had big chunks of fresh shrimp in there.
Did you have some
flown
ground
in
black
today, or
pepper on
caught
top?
today. There was fresh cracked pepper on top. There was a creme fraiche on there too. Some from fresh chives on there.
Why
Who
did
is he?
you? Why did you
Who is
say it
he?
like that?
Because that's how you're supposed to say creme fraiche.
No, I don't think it is.
How do you say creme fraiche?
Creme fraiche?
See, you said it like that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No.
Creme
You
fraiche.
did. You did like a
Creme fraiche.
It was like an Adam Sandler side character
Creme fraiche.
deal. Yeah, right.
Say it. You say it.
Creme fraiche.
No, see, you said it like that. Creme
no,
fraiche.
No, I didn't. Raj,
did.
I did not say it like that.
I don't know, guys.
Why? Like poor Raj. You've been
Yes,
stuck
poor
with us.
Raj.
You've been stuck with us now for
Oh
over
my
24
gosh.
hours. So I think let's turn this to Raj.
4.5
Raj-
out of 5, by the way.
Oh, for the
4.5
soup?
out of 5 bowls
Okay.
is the rating system. 5 bowls is the rating system.
Okay.
4.5 out of 5 bowls. A
Great.
strong start
Great.
to Super Week.
Right. And you do you have a plan for attack of a plan for today?
So I spent the morning researching various soups around
That's what you're doing with your morning research. You do know
Let's not
that.
act like you spent a light co-pilot. Tell me
Yeah.
about soups near me.
No. Don't
Don't act.
I'm old school. Reddit, Thrillist.
He's on
basic-
Reddit soup subreddit.
Yeah, I'm on a soup subreddit, man. Listen, I'm not going to AI for this. Are you kidding
I mean,
me?
we are sitting on the Jim Rome TV set.
Yeah.
And you're spending your morning researching soups.
Yeah. What?
Well, sports opinions and topics. That's what you're supposed to be doing here with your time in San
Yeah, that's
Francisco.
all. That's all in the brain already.
Oh, yeah, you're
that's
ready to
all in
go?
here already.
Yeah. You got something to fire off.
I'm all ready for that. Yeah.
All right. So you
In
have.
fairness, while he was researching, he had time to text us this morning. R.I.P. Jackson Dart's career. So he
Yeah,
had
I
time
did.
to multitask.
Yeah.
That
so
is
I
true.
did. I did have that.
That is true. All right.
Yeah.
So the price of the soup. Did you get that?
It's on the itemized receipt that we got yesterday.
Okay, so
It
you
was
didn't-
like
So you didn't.
No, it
You're
was
not going to
like-
hold to the bit. You don't have a budget. You're
no,
just
I don't. It's a budget.
freewheeling?
It's a
It's just
budget of
unlimited-
whatever.
Unlimited.
Whatever. It's whatever.
soups?
It's whatever our per diem is. It's a daily per diem, so whatever it fits into the day, I guess.
Who the hell ordered so much
It's-
soup
it's
in
whatever-
San Francisco?
Yeah, it's whatever
Oh,
the
it's
day
the
is.
Bleck and Abdalla show.
Yeah,
That's
it's,
why.
It's whatever the day is. So
All
we'll
right.
see how it goes.
We'll keep you updated because I'm sure our national audience from coast to coast are
Loves
very
this.
worried
Yeah.
about Abdalla's soups every day
Yeah.
here on Westwood One Sports. Like Raj was talking about, we had news that the New York Giants will be hiring Matt Nagy as the offensive coordinator and the play caller to support Jackson Dart and the New York Giants moving forward with John Harbaugh as the head coach. Clearly, to me, there wasn't really a plan B after Todd Monken. I think John Harbaugh thought Monken was going to come with them to New York, and the moment he took that Cleveland job, the Giants were kind of scrambling, and Matt Nagy was the guy that was shined up, and they were put out there.
And
there was a
we
lot
heard
of
Cliff Kingsbury, we heard Brian Callahan, and then all of a sudden, boom! Today they hired Matt Nagy.
So to Nagy's credit, at least he's going to go somewhere now where he can prove that he actually is an offensive coach.
That's something to consider with Harbaugh. He doesn't have an offensive back. He doesn't even have a defensive background. He's special teams.
Yeah.
So Matt Nagy's going to have
it's his
full
offense.
autonomy of Jackson Dart in that offense as Adam Abdalla looks like he just threw up in his mouth.
Well, and that's what we suggested that Matt Nagy do to then get back to the head coaching level. Is you got to go somewhere and call the plays. And that's what he's going to do in New York with Jackson Dart. So Matt Nagy to take over the offense for the Giants.
Good luck.
And this was the research you were doing this morning.
That was
Well,
the RIP Jackson Dart.
Okay, so you
and
and I broadcasting usually from Chicago. You and I spending 20 years broadcasting from Chicago. We have a unique Matt Nagy perspective. Matt Nagy likes to fit the square peg into the round hole. He has one, at least from what we experience as he was the head coach of the Chicago Bears, he has one offensive system. And if you don't fit that offensive system, too bad, you're playing in his offensive system. So if Jackson Dart doesn't fit that offensive system, at least from what we've seen, the experience that we have watching his system, that's it. So if Jackson Dart likes to run, too bad, you're going to play the way that Patrick Mahomes was playing. So you're going to play from the pocket. You're going to learn to adapt and play that way. So it might benefit Jackson Dart because we've seen he's been in concussion protocol in half the games that he's played so far in his career, which is not good.
Yeah.
So in order to extend his career, he needs to learn how to play and stay in the pocket, or at least not run all the time. If you want to roll out and throw on the move and all that kind of stuff, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is you need to get rid of the football and not just tuck and run all the time. So if he can do that and Matt Nagy can get him to do that, then it can work out. But Jackson Dart doesn't seem like that kind of player because he's been on the record saying, I'm not going to change the way that I play. So when you are on the record saying that and you bring in a guy that's also not going to change his style of offense, like that just doesn't seem like it's going to work out to me.
Yeah, I would describe it like this. From what we followed along with Nagy's run as Bears head coach, is that Nagy brings a lot of sizzle, but there's very little steak. And what I mean by that is he was pretty good, especially when things were going well, at implementing trick plays or things that were gimmicky. He was pretty good at that.
Mm-hmm.
But the down-to-down structure of the offensive play calling, stringing together different formations, taking advantage of what the defense is doing, reacting to the initial formations that you're laying out there, he wasn't good at all. And the Bears offense, even though they popped for a little bit initially, they also had a great defense that gave them a lot of short fields. And what I think ended up happening is like Nagy at that time was in way over his head as a head coach. He was trying to do way too much with all these different levels of the organization, the defense, special teams, everything. He just wasn't prepared for that moment. And he also wasn't prepared to be a head coach who gets criticized. And I think that's what happened in the Chicago market is that we would criticize the decisions he makes as a play caller, then also as a head coach with his timeouts, his challenges, all the end of game situations.
Mm-hmm.
The important things for a head coach in today's NFL, he wasn't prepared, and his offense didn't live up to the billing of coming from a team that had the best offense in the NFL, because that's Andy Reid's offense. It's not his. And it was a cheap imitation, knockoff version of the Chiefs offense where he wanted to implement the sizzle plays, but you ain't got Patrick Mahomes running around back there as your quarterback. You had Mitchell Trubisky. And so I think if you're a Giants fan today, like I forgot to say this to Costos, because Costos is a Giants fan, right?
Yeah.
He talks about it.
Yeah.
Like we should say good luck to him when we see him later
Yeah.
at Radio Row, because like I wouldn't be thrilled. If I were a Giants fan today, I would not be excited because the Bears offense was not necessarily good. I think they had a lot of plays that caught highlights and people thought that they had a good offense at the time, but I don't think Nagy's offense was really worth anything special when he was Bears head coach.
No, they put up a lot of points, but if you look at it, they had a defense that generated a historic amount of turnovers because it was a Vic
they scored. It was a defense that scored too.
And they scored a historic amount of points because it was a Vic Fangio-led defense that put up an insane, like there were points in the season where we were comparing it. It wasn't just people in Chicago. It was a national comparison to the 85 Bears and how good that defense was and how good they were at generating turnovers and scoring off those turnovers and pick sixes and fumble returns for touchdowns and everything. So the points were inflated where you're like, oh, the Bears are putting up all these points. And it's like, well, the defense is scoring a lot of those points. They're giving the Bears a ton of short fields. And then Trubisky doesn't have to do a lot. Matt Nagy's offense doesn't have to do a lot. They made the playoffs. They lost the infamous double doink, lost to the Eagles in the playoffs. And then the Bears just kind of fizzled out. And you're right. Nagy was very combative when he was questioned by the media. He was very combative when his.
Can you imagine how he'll react to the New York media?
When his offense was questioned, he was very combative. And the good thing is here, he's not the head coach.
He's not, but he may be under the head coach in the entire NFL who gives his offensive coordinator the most autonomy.
Yes,
John Harbaugh
with a young quarterback,
his coordinators and stays out of the way. That's what he did in Baltimore forever.
Well, and we've mocked him on this show that like essentially Nagy for the last couple of years, he's a caddy.
Yeah.
Right? Like Andy Reid is the mastermind of the offense for the Chiefs, and you have the best quarterback I personally have ever seen in my life play football in Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not saying that to be crazy right now. Like it's Mahomes, it's Dan Marino are like the two who have played the best. Then you've got like guys who have won more, right?
Tom we don't even know if Brady's the first ballot Hall of Famer anymore.
Tom Brady.
If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, how can you put him up there? I don't know.
He did win that ring in Tampa. We know that one.
Aaron Rodgers is in that conversation, right? But like when you say who's the quarterback who has played it the position at its pinnacle, it's Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Who never won, so he always gets forgotten about in these conversations.
And it's
Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
Those are the two best quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life.
And we know that's not him. That's not him.
Well, Jackson Dart, no, it's not.
And
we know it's Andy Reid, though. My point is that it's Andy Reid. It's not Matt Nagy. So, and now he goes to New York where, he's going to get criticized and, he's going to be under the microscope and his offense is going to be questioned.
And
he doesn't have to meet the media every day.
Play caller. It's going to be his offense.
Yes.
He's going to have to design it, implement it, game plan. John Harbaugh's not going to touch that
But
stuff.
he does have not as good of a defense as the Bears that year, obviously. But he does have a good defense to kind of support Jackson Dart and to bail him out and to set up short fields and all that kind of stuff. So it's not the worst situation. I think it's, again, like when we talked about Mike LaFleur getting the Cardinals job, it's just kind of we need a guy. And Matt Nagy's there.
He's a guy.
He's got an offense.
All right, quickly. I think this is a half-baked idea. You guys tell me if I'm onto something. Nagy leaving Kansas City feels like a cast member from SNL where Lorne Michaels just says you should go out and
you should go make some
you
movies.
should go try and be a movie star. Right? Like one of those cast members who isn't really
a movie
worth
star.
a damn.
Sure, go ahead, Chris Kattan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead, Chris Kattan.
Catching strays from
I wish Lorne Michaels would say that to Mikey Day.
Yeah.
The Mikey Day
See how that
era,
Roxbury movie works out.
The Mikey Day era of SNL has been one of the worst. All right, a Mikey Day skit is
Coming up next on
terrible.
Bleck and Abdalla, Mikey Day joins us from the Super Bowl.
Is he really here? Oh, no. It's Bleck and Abdalla. Ross Tucker will join us next on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from San Francisco, the site of Super Bowl 60, Westwood One Sports presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Welcome back to Radio Row in downtown San Francisco. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, noon to 3 Eastern each and every weekday on Westwood One Sports. You can also listen to us on the Westwood One Sports app and SiriusXM channel 375. Check the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Odyssey. We're hanging out here at Radio Row, having a great time previewing Super Bowl 60, Seahawks and Patriots. We're now joined by Ross Tucker from Westwood One Sports as we get set for the Super Bowl to talk a little football and the big game. What's up, Ross?
What's up, fellas? Congrats on the gig.
Thank you.
Westwood One Sports. I'm pumped. Doing games for Westwood One
Yeah.
pretty much every week. I love that we've got this whole big network behind us now too.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's great to get this off the ground and to promote the broadcast that you bring to the table. You've done a great job on the sidelines throughout the playoffs, and we love listening to you. So when we look at this matchup, Seahawks and the Patriots, what is the one thing throughout the week that you want to talk to people here in the convention center and here in San Francisco that interests you about this game? What's the one thing that stands out?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think, and maybe it's just because calling games for both Westwood One and CBS, I look at this stuff more, but it feels like 4 really good coordinators, and I think when you're a player, you never really want to think the coaches are that important because you want to think it's about you. And honestly, that's why I never wanted to blame the coaches when things went poorly, because I didn't want them to get the credit when it went like it's on us. But I will tell you, just watching every passing year, I do think coaching matters a lot. And I think there's a reason why the Raiders are hiring Clint Kubiak reportedly to be their head coach. He is slick. I mean, he is really, really good. I think McDaniels has done an outstanding job with Drake May. I interviewed Josh last night for the Ross Tucker Football Podcast because Josh's first year as the offensive coordinator was my first year in New England in 2005. And for Drake May to lead the NFL in both completion percentage and yards per attempt, that's nuts. I mean, he's not thinking and dunking to be completing 73%. He is chucking it down the field. So both OCs are really good. Mike McDonald is sort of, in my mind, like the Sean McVay of the defensive side of the ball, the Seahawks head coach. So he's a brilliant, young, up-and-coming mind, and I think people are trying to replicate what he's done, which is why the Ravens hired Jesse Minter. And then this Zach Core from the Patriots, that might be the craziest part of this, is that they had a linebacker coach who never called a defense before. Terrell Williams has prostate cancer, so Vrabel has this guy calling the defense. They have been lights out down the stretch and in the playoffs. Now, we can all ask each other how much of that has to do with the poor play of the quarterbacks, but they're forcing that. They're forcing Stroud to play like that. They're forcing, the turnovers and the plays that we saw from Jarrett Stidham and Justin Herbert. So I think a big reason why they're here, two things jump out to me. One is the coordinators for both teams. The other thing is, and it feels like this happens every year with whoever's in the Super Bowl, they just kind of have the Midas touch. I mean, look at every move they made, both free agency, like the Seahawks, the draft with Gray Zabel and Eamon Worry, or bringing in DeMarcus Lawrence, and the Patriots with Stephon Diggs and Jared Wilson as a third-round pick. It feels like the teams that make the Super Bowl are the teams that year everything just kind of went their way.
So you had 3 coaches that were new hires go worst to first. You had Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, and then Mike Vrabel, obviously, is here. Are you surprised? Not surprised that he went worst to first, but surprised that the Patriots made it all the way here to the Super Bowl, that he got them here in his first year.
No question. And Vrabel and I were teammates 05 and 06 in New England. I'm sort of surprised he's this good of a coach. And I guess maybe it's because, when you're like friends with a guy or teammates or opponents at times, you don't picture them in that realm. I mean, I always knew if you wanted to coach, you could be good at it. But when you talk about like clock management, game management, those type of things, motivation, he is awesome. He's awesome. And I know it went south at the end there in Tennessee, but that is tough that the Titans had him and let go of him. I just think the reason why I didn't think the Patriots would be here is because it's the AFC, and in particular AFC East. I didn't think they would beat out the Bills to win that division. And then with the Ravens and the Chiefs and everybody, I didn't think they would get this far in the postseason. But I also probably didn't think the Broncos would play them in the AFC Championship game either, to be honest. I would have thought some combination of Bills, Ravens, Chiefs. But I do think that's part of what makes the NFL so fun.
One thing that you mentioned is like Tennessee. We talked about it on the show last week. Like, if you're a Titans fan, you got to be upset, right? Vrabel goes to the new place, gets them to the Super Bowl year one. The other part of that was Sam Darnold. Vikings fans look at that situation. They're like, we had the quarterback who is actually pretty good. What have you made from Sam Darnold's development in the last 2 seasons specifically? I think a lot of people point to the defenses and everything around Sam to get him to this point, but he's become a better quarterback in the last couple of years as well. And I think he deserves a lot of credit to getting himself to this point as well.
There's no question. And, I thought there was a chance that they could get to the Super Bowl with him kind of being like along for the ride. No way. He had to play awesome in the NFC Championship game. If he didn't play really well in the NFC Championship game, they would have lost. So I give him a ton of credit for the way he played in that game. And I'm kind of rooting for him. He's a fellow member of the 5-team club. There's not many of us that played for 5 different teams. So I love the fact that the Super Bowl MVP might be a member of the 5-team club, because that doesn't happen very often. So he's kind of repping all of us journeymen out there with how he plays.
It also doesn't really happen that often with quarterbacks. Like, when we look at this, do teams look at the quarterback prospects coming into the NFL now and they give up too early? Because Sam's not the first one. We've seen it with Baker Mayfield, and we've seen it with a couple other guys here in the recent history where the first place it didn't work out, and what they really needed was just time to develop. Do you think that that's the case, that these quarterbacks coming out of college are not necessarily prepared to take over in the NFL for teams who are drafted highly? Because it's also, Ross, like the other thing is we look at last year's class, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix. They all seem like they're Jaden Daniels. They're all prepared for it, playing well. What do you think of that?
Part of it is the guys are playing in college longer, staying in college longer. I think Darnold and Baker Mayfield would be the first ones to tell you that they've gotten significantly better. And I'd be curious to hear what they would say if you asked them, do you think this could have happened with the Jets and the Browns respectively, or did you kind of have to go through this process to get to this point? Because people forget this is the 4th team Baker's played for too. He had that year with Carolina and with the Rams. I think, listen, you go back and think about, Baker in Cleveland. He brought some of that stuff on himself, with how he acted at times. And they probably would have been more patient with his up and down on-field performance if he didn't carry himself the way he did in certain situations.
So Chris and I were arguing yesterday about Sam Darnold, and obviously the 5-team club, like you mentioned, and he was top 10 last year and this year in both yards and touchdowns, but obviously he led the league in giveaways this year too. Is he, quote, like fixed? Being with the Vikings this year and then with Clint Kubiak this year, is he fixed, or do you want to see another year of this with another OC, because the Seahawks are going to be on another OC this year? They've done it. They had a new one last year, the year before. Do you want to see more from Sam Darnold? Do you consider him like this is who he is from last year to this year?
I think this is who he is. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's a MVP caliber quarterback. I think that there will be some regression next year because I think Clint Kubiak is that good. And when you lose Kubiak, and he's going to be, I don't know who the play caller will be, but they're probably not going to be as good as Kubiak, who's been excellent. I mean, you watch these games. I'm on sideline the NFC Championship game. How is Smith and Jigba that wide open?
Yeah, right.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
The guy had like 2,000 yards. Like, he's kind of the guy you talked about all week, and then there's nobody within 10 yards of him. How is that even a thing? It is wild to witness at times. It really is. But I think I think he'll probably regress a little bit. But I don't know, like, where is he ranked among quarterbacks? Is he considered the 8th best right now, the 12th best? I think that's probably fair. I think he's probably somewhere between 6 and 15. I think that's probably where he'll end up.
That's kind of where we were debating it. It's like he's not quite top 10. He could be, but he's not quite there. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, the reports came out today that Robert Kraft will not make the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Bill Belichick last week reportedly won't be on the in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. What are your thoughts on that? To me, it feels like the voters they have the last say, and they're trying to hold them accountable, the Patriots, for Spygate, for Deflategate, for all that stuff that took place.
I think that's probably the rationale for a couple of the voters. I think for a lot of the voters, it's sort of the convoluted voting system they have, where you can only vote for 3 out of the 3 seniors candidates, the contributor and the coach. Those guys recognize that this is probably the only shot for L.C. Greenwood, Kenny Anderson, Roger Craig, and so they want to put their best foot forward to try to get those guys in. The players are always going to be the priority, I think, especially when it feels like a one-shot deal to get through that seniors committee and even get on the ballot.
Do you think this has a trickle-down effect to Brady, or do you think he makes it through first ballot no matter what?
No, especially because when he went to Tampa and won the Super Bowl there.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Abdalla's married. I'm married. Valentine's Day is coming around the corner. We need help with gifts.
What do you guys typically do?
I wait till the very last minute. I'm
and then
Ross,
do what?
I'm terrible.
And then do what?
Flowers, something.
Yeah.
I get my daughter to draw something, and I'm like, "Here you go. Look what we did."
You guys are everybody, okay?
You know,
seriously, you will blow her away if you go to myfrontpagestory.com. It's so cool. My buddy invented the company. You talk to a writer for 10 minutes on the phone while you're driving home from work, or you can actually go fill out an email. It takes 10 minutes. Tell them how great your significant other is. They write this incredible story. It looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper, framed, beautiful, pictures of you and her and the kids if you have them. And when she opens it up, to be able to say to her, honey, I want to do something special for you. I had a story written about you. It sounds like you had like Mitch Albom, like commission an article, like, and make sure you tell the writer, I never thank her enough for all the little things she does for me.
Yeah.
When she reads that line, she will cry. Like, oh my gosh, she notices. Myfrontpagestory.com. She will cry. You will win. Myfrontpagestory.com.
it's all about the effort we put in, right? It's
That's
not
right.
right, and that.
And then it's hanging up on the wall forever. So next time you get an argument, be like, oh, really? Did you write a story about me? No, I had a story written about you.
Thank you, Ross. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great to meet you guys.
There is Ross Tucker. Westwood One Sports had a chance to stop by earlier this morning with Bleck and Abdalla, broadcasting live from Radio Row in San Francisco as we get set for Super Bowl 60, the Patriots and the Seahawks on Sunday. Yeah, it was a good conversation with Ross. And I think one of the things that stood out to us that was surprising is when he played with Mike Vrabel, he didn't think he would be a good head coach.
Yeah, which is interesting. I think that when we talked about the differences between the Mike Vrabel hire and the Ben Johnson hire, right? Like, because those were the two main guys last offseason.
Yeah.
We knew that Ben Johnson was going to be the guy that was going to scheme up the great offense, and there was no question there. And we knew that Mike Vrabel was going to be able to change the culture instantly and be the guy that motivates everybody and gets everybody into gear and can take like a 4-win team like the Patriots were and get them a few more wins like instantly just because you're a motivator and you can change culture and all that good stuff.
For sure.
But like Ross Tucker said, to get the timeouts right, to get the in-game adjustments right, to get all that kind of stuff, that takes a lot. And to be able to, adjust from what you did in Tennessee, to learn while you're off, I know he was, around other teams and stuff like that. And to just learn while you're away and while you're on the job. And now you're coaching in the Super Bowl in your first year with an organization is a huge adjustment.
It's Bleck and Abdalla, sponsored by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Yeah, you're right with that, Abdalla. Like, when you look at Vrabel and what the Patriots have done to get to this point, like, I do sense a vibe from everyone we're talking to is that the Patriots are coming into this weekend with house money, right? Like, no one expected them to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking with Sean Merriman earlier. He mentioned, like, Seattle's a better team unless Sam Darnold turns the football over multiple times. And it really is kind of the topic of the weekend. I know it's easy to point to the quarterbacks, but if Drake May outplays Sam Darnold, the Patriots legitimately have a shot to win this game because Drake May is the better quarterback in this matchup.
Yeah, he is. He was the better quarterback in the regular season. In the postseason so far, recency bias, if you want to go based off the sample size that we've seen in the last few weeks, Sam Darnold's a better quarterback. And the Seahawks have the better defense, and the Seahawks have the better overall team. And so that's why I think you're seeing people picking the Seahawks. But again, you're picking, the more motivated team. Like they're the underdog. They've got nothing to lose. Like you said, they're playing with house money. Drake May doesn't know. He's never been a part of this. I mean, Sam Darnold hasn't either, but as far as they know, they're here a year early. They're here a couple of years early. So they can shock the world, and they're not too big of an underdog. They're only a 4.5-point underdog. There's no reason why they can't go out and win this game.
It's time for the Defensive Player of the Week, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. I'm going to do this. I'm voting Sean Merriman as the Defensive Player of the Week. He joined Bleck and Abdalla. You can check it out on the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Odyssey, or on YouTube. Check it out later on this afternoon. Sean Merriman is a beast. I'm going to make him the defensive player of the week.
Like he built like he could still play.
Oh, yes, he is.
Yeah, like no joke.
Do you agree with me that we can go with Sean Merriman?
Yes, we're going with Sean Merriman.
All
Dude
right.
looks like he could still play.
All right, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Raj will join us next to have a little power rankings on the Bleck and Abdalla show. We love to do that every Tuesday here on the show, and Raj will be a part of that coming up next. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One and the Westwood One Sports app, hanging out with you. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen in the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with early exit.
If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. If you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
All right, here's the deal. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code B&A. That's B&A for Bleck and Abdalla. And you can turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states and present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until February 8th, 2026.
This is the week the entire NFL season builds to, and we've got everything you need to know. Super Bowl stories, news, and every angle that actually matters on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, hanging out with you on Radio Row in San Francisco, having a great time. Day 2, live from San Francisco. It's the Bleck and Abdalla show right here on Westwood One Sports. Usually this time of the day, we bring in Raj Sharon, and he's usually in Denver, but this week, he gets to spend the entire week with Bleck and Abdalla.
Are interesting words.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm saying it's like you're forced to hang out with us 24/7.
A night on the town last night with Bleck and Abdalla was a night to remember.
It was one of the all-time nights where we were all in our hotel rooms by 8:30.
Boy, we went crazy. A bunch of married dudes that have the freedom to go wherever they want on a wild night, and boy, we were all back at the hotel.
You would think like the objective is like, let's get stories from the night. Let's go out. And
the objective was sleep, baby.
All right, guys. So a 6:30 dinner. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's get back.
We all had to be up early. I mean, two of us have kids. We want to bank as much sleep as possible.
Oh, I get that. Sleep is as someone who doesn't have kids, I get it. I love sleep. Sleep is great, and I enjoy it, so I understand.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life. Isn't sleep wonderful?
Sleep is great.
No, don't you understand why they make it such a big deal with like sports science and why it's such a big deal?
Oh, absolutely.
There are sleep coaches for adults now. You know, there's like sleep coaches you can hire for kids. That like get them on. You can, as an adult, hire a sleep coach now.
I've got an idea.
What do they do? Sleep more.
No. Here's the idea. Stop scrolling.
Yeah.
Stop scrolling. Put the phone to the side. Fall asleep like that. All right, Raj. It's Bleck and Abdalla here. Power rankings time. Raj Sharon in person.
Row power rankings.
What's up,
These
Raj?
aren't your usual power rankings 1 through 5. No, we got categories, and most importantly, we got no rules. All right, here we go. Super Bowl edition. First group of the power rankings. Elite. Abdalla, who are you putting in elite?
Who am I putting in elite?
And Joe Flacco. I guess you could put Joe Flacco.
I mean, he is a Pro Bowler.
He is in the Pro Bowl games tonight.
He is a Pro Bowler. All right, number one, I'm going to put the Seahawks defense is elite. We are here super week. The Seahawks defense, they've been the best defense in the NFL. They're number one in points allowed per game in the regular season. I think that they are going to continue to have a very, very good Super Bowl. They're going to continue this run. They're going to get to Drake May. They are elite. I'm also going to go with someone from the Patriots. I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs. He has also been elite for Drake May, so he's going to go number 2. So Seahawks defense, Stephon Diggs, and then the new friends we've made along the way so far this Super Week. That's going to be
name one.
Raj.
But Raj is our friend to begin with.
Yeah, but now we know him in person.
And you have to say he's your friend.
But now we're in person.
Well, what?
Now we're in person.
You could have said Nick Costa.
I thought he was going to say Sean Merriman.
Yeah, Sean Merriman.
Well, Sean and I were friends before we got here.
Okay. All right. What a nonsense answer from Abdalla. Okay, elite.
He said no rules.
When you say, well, I place rules on everything. I'd say when you say elite.
Hall monitor over here.
I'm going to put.
It's like John Goodman in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
I'm going to put.
Nobody care about the rules anymore.
Mike Vrabel is an elite coach. I'm going to put Jackson Smith and Jigba as an elite wide receiver.
Okay.
And I think one day we will say that Drake May is an elite quarterback. Those are my power rankings.
All right, next up, the next power ranking category is makes me nervous.
Okay.
Makes me nervous. Bleck?
I'm going to go Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has played well, and he has the ability to be a really good quarterback. Makes me nervous, though, because he doesn't always do that, and he turns the football over when he has a lot of pressure. And so I'm going to say that Sam Darnold is my makes me nervous player.
I'm going to say Drake May makes me nervous. He's taken 5 sacks a game so far this postseason.
Has he ever fumbled?
He has fumbled. He's fumbled a lot. And in fact, Ross Tucker mentioned the fumbles. Ross Tucker mentioned a lot of the fumbles.
Yes, he did.
And the turnovers. I don't know if you noticed that,
Yes,
but Ross Tucker who joined us.
You know the I Love
last
Drake May
segment.
shirts that have
Yes.
gone viral? I want to get an Abdalla Drake May fumble shirt.
People in New England and in the Boston area probably hate you.
They
'Cause
might.
All you do is trash
They
men.
might. We can go ask him. There's a couple stations around
I
here.
can
that
see
are-
one right in
Yeah,
front of
there's
us.
one right
right over
there. I can go ask him.
She goes, hey, do you guys know Drake May fumbles?
Go take a lap and go ask.
You're like, hey, do you guys know that Drake? They probably do, and they're probably worried. They're probably makes me nervous that Drake May's going to fumble the football. You know who probably makes Drake May nervous? Will Campbell. Will Campbell probably makes Drake May nervous.
Yeah.
So he's number 2 on my list. Will Campbell. He would make me nervous. So yeah, those two.
All right, next up on Power Rankings, guys, the Power Ranking category is the biggest mismatch in this game. Abdalla,
I just mentioned
the
him.
biggest
Will
mismatch
Campbell.
in this game.
Will Campbell and the Seahawks defense, whoever they line up opposite Will Campbell. Take your pick. Whoever's going to be there, and Will Campbell.
All right.
There you go.
Here's mine. Off the board, the fact that Green Day is performing in the Super Bowl broadcast, that's the biggest mismatch. We don't need Green Day involved. And I don't need to hear people say Bad Bunny. They don't want to see that. Like, I get it. New stuff is always going to be featured. He's arguably the largest artist in the
He
world
just
right
won,
now.
like 5 Grammys.
Yeah, there's a little conspiracy there that there's a fix in on that. Did you see that, Abdalla? You love
Usually Abdalla's
conspiracies.
the conspiracy theorist of
No,
the show.
I
I
understand.
saw that
but
people were saying he won the Grammys,
Oh.
so then the NFL and everything, all the marketing could push
Yeah.
that he's the Grammy winner. That's going to be
All of a
performing
sudden,
this
people
weekend.
care about the Grammys. Okay.
Well, I'm going to say Green Day is such a sloppy second course. Like
Easy, buddy.
What? I said second course.
Oh my God,
I didn't say the
Abdalla.
phrase together.
Yeah.
You can figure it out for yourself.
Okay.
Like what?
I think we just did.
Has-beens.
Yeah.
I don't need Green Day a part of the Super Bowl broadcast.
Yeah, I saw Green Day over the summer,
Wash.
and they were performing. They were performing 2 of their albums, and I left during when they performed American Idiot. I was just like, I don't need to see the new stuff.
All right, next up on Power Rankings, guys, the category is flying under the radar. Bleck, flying under the radar.
Okay, flying under the radar is the enjoyment level of previewing a game for 7 straight days. I love having conversations with football people previewing one game for the entire week. So when you watch TV, you listen to Westwood One Sports, and you listen to all of the conversations about Patriots Seahawks, flying under the radar to me is that I think people act like it's cool to crap on all of this, and it's a lot of fun. And I like previewing the last football game of the season, and I can't wait for Sunday. And so that's flying under the radar to me.
I think the jaded media members will be like spoken like a first timer on radio.
No, because you know why? Because you and I have hosted shows leading up to Super Bowls before.
I know.
And we've also been a part of, we haven't been to the Super Bowl before, but we've covered Final Fours, and we've been to the Final Four media stuff. And like having the last football game of the year, the football season, be an event is notable because it's the only sport all of us in this country care about.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing, and there's a reason behind it, and I love it.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna focus on the game and say Patriots defense. I think we're spending too much time on the Seahawks defense. I mean, rightfully so, but I don't think the Patriots defense, who was extremely good and as many sacks as Drake May took during the regular season, and how great their offense was, their defense is really good too.
Yeah.
And I think that we're focusing on just how good the Seahawks defense is, where the Patriots defense isn't like, they're not bad. They're very good.
No, they're good.
A great defense too.
They're good.
And I don't think we're focusing a lot on that too, and how much trouble they could give Sam Darnold. They're like, we're just all assuming Sam Darnold's going to play great, right? Like he could very well struggle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And finally, on Power Rankings from Radio Row, fellas, could be Super Bowl MVP, could be the reason they lose. Abdalla?
I mean, it's both quarterbacks. They're the ones that win MVP. It's the talking about who won the MVP in the last Super Bowl that these two teams matched up. It was a defensive Super Bowl, and Brady still won MVP. So, like, it could be a defensive game, and Drake May or Sam Darnold could still win MVP, but they could also be, Drake May could be the reason that the Patriots lose. Sam Darnold could be the reason that the Seahawks lose. So, but either of them could be MVP. Like, I don't see a reason that, like, Kenneth Walker could be the reason they lose, or he could be MVP. I don't think Jackson Smith and Jigba.
If Kenneth Walker rushes for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns, he could be MVP, but he could also fumble at the goal line in a critical moment.
Yeah, I just think this is going to be it's either going to be Drake May that loses this game, or we're going to be talking about Sam Darnold. It's either going to be one of these quarterbacks either goes back to the Sam Darnold that we saw in the playoffs before, or Drake May takes a bunch of sacks, and he's been the guy that we've seen in the playoffs so far this season.
Yeah, Abdalla's right on this. It's only the two quarterbacks that we look at and say, if they could perhaps lose the game. They're the only two. Everyone else, it's like no one's entering the game saying, Jackson Smith and Jigba, if he has 12 receptions, 3 touchdowns for 175 yards, he could be MVP, but if he drops 3 balls, he's going to lose it for Seattle. No one looks at it that way, so it's only the quarterbacks. It's May and it's Darnold. Those are the two.
All right, fellas, that does it for Power Rankings, but we're not done with the game.
Wait, who walked behind us that you took a picture of?
It was Fred Warner.
It was Fred Warner.
Okay.
Yeah, he walked by.
Okay.
Too.
I was like, everybody on camera said, I saw you take a picture of someone, but I couldn't turn around and look. Like, who did you just take a picture of sneakily? Okay. All right, Fred Warner.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife would have had the same reaction Raj just had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Said,
all right. Fred Warner. Okay. Fred Warner walked behind us.
Bears 49ers were watching the game. They get a shot of him up in the booth, right?
Yeah.
During the game, and she's like, "Who's that?"
Okay.
I'm like, "All right, easy over there."
Easy.
Like,
all right, come on.
She loves those Puka Nakua commercials.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, but I agree. I could see it. I understand.
It's
I
like
get
easy,
it.
easy.
Easy,
All right, we
easy.
got
What I get?
another game, a surprise game.
All right, what do you have, Raj?
In my inbox
What a special day.
from the National Basketball Association.
We got big trade.
No
Giannis?
trade.
Where's
No,
Giannis
no,
going?
no Giannis,
Giannis a
no
bull?
James Harden.
James Harden?
Not
Where
yet.
we going?
Is Giannis a bull?
We do have the rosters for the All-Star Celebrity Game.
Oh,
We're going to
great.
play a little impromptu.
Oh, great.
Do you know that
Oh,
celebrity?
God. Are we?
All right.
Is this just our
Yeah.
Black and Abdalla wash?
Old.
Because
All right.
they're called celebrities. What's up,
Yeah.
Mike Liss?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, friend of mine, Mike Liss, 9 News in Denver.
Yo, great. Nice. Hello.
All right, here we
Hello.
go. Are they a celebrity or not? Do you
What do we
know him? We'll start with Keegan Michael Key. Do you know who
yeah.
Keegan Michael Key is?
Yes, absolutely.
I have a side note for that. Keegan Michael Key, I saw perform at Second City in Chicago before he was famous, like 20 years ago. And when I saw, and I don't know if you're familiar with this, Raj, but like Saturday Night Live takes a lot of talent from Second City in Chicago. Back then, when I saw him there, you knew immediately that guy's going to be a
Yeah.
star. So yes, I know who he
Yeah,
is.
we gotta. Yeah, come on.
All right. Multi-platinum rapper and Indian entertainment icon, Badshah.
Absolutely not.
No, I don't.
No.
I'm
Who?
Indian.
I'm washed.
I'm
Yeah,
Indian, and I
yeah.
don't know him.
Your
Okay.
home team. if you
I
don't
know, I'm
who
home
that is.
team, and I don't know him. Okay, next up. Multi-platinum producer.
Like you got. You're like multi-platinum. I'm like, yeah. You're like rapper. I'm like, yeah. And you're like, I'm like, no.
All right, we're gonna try to speed through this. Multi-platinum producer Mustard.
Oh yeah. DJ Mustard. Yeah. Mustard.
He said it so definitively, and Bleck gave me a look. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
from Kendrick. Mustard. Come on, you know who this is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come on.
All right, multi-platinum rapper Glorilla.
Glorilla. Yes.
Gorilla.
Yes.
NBA legend. I'm using their terminology. And champion Jeremy Lin.
Legend?
NBA legend and champion.
I mean, I remember-
Insanity will live
I remember
forever.
Linsanity.
Pro
Of
Bowler?
course.
Are we throwing Pro Bowler
Of
around
course.
too?
Jeremy Lin. Of
All
course.
right.
Yeah.
Actress not quite sure. Taylor Frankie Paul from The Bachelorette and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
I should know this because my wife watches this
Actress,
stuff.
I'm assuming.
Taylor
that's the
Frankie
case.
Paul?
Is she the one that was?
I don't know who this is.
All right. I do. Isn't she the one? Hold on. What? Here's. I do know who that is.
Okay.
Isn't she the one that spilled the beans that they were all with each other's husbands?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Isn't that what that's from?
All right,
Is that
next
show?
up.
Wait, Roger just.
We
doesn't
got to
know.
go through. We got to go through. Love Island USA standout Nicholas
No.
Van Steenberge.
No.
I
Okay.
have no idea.
No.
NBA senior NBA insider, ESPN senior
Shams.
NBA insider Shams Charania.
Yeah, we know Shams.
I'm on Ross St. Brown. We'll
Yep.
skip him. Keenan Allen. We'll skip him.
Yep.
Okay. Brazilian soccer legend and two-time FIFA World Cup champion Cafu.
Cafu.
no.
Cafu.
And
Not
we-
Kaká.
You guys are soccer guys too.
Cafu or Kaká?
Okay. Creator and co-founder of Dude Perfect, Cody Jones.
I've seen the videos. Yeah.
Social media creator and basketball personality Jenna
No.
Bandy.
No.
Jenna Bandy. No.
Singer-songwriter and viral hitmaker Adrian Nunez.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Former NBA player who's 7'6" tall, Taco Fall.
Yeah, Taco Fall.
He's been on our show.
Taco Fall.
Right.
Friend of the
We
program.
have a picture.
Friend of the program.
Right.
Friend of the program.
We have a photo standing
Yeah.
next to Taco Fall.
Yeah,
We'll-
friend
we'll
of the
dig it up for you.
program.
All right,
Yes.
Suns owner Matt Ishbia,
Ishbia, sure.
Hornets owner Rick Schnall. Okay, this
Okay.
one we already asked. Simu Liu. You don't know Simu Liu?
No.
No.
No. Who's
Shang
that?
Chi, the Marvel movies.
What?
He's
I know who he is. Yes,
not-
I know who he is. Yes. Now that I see him, I know who he is.
I've
Yes.
seen him. I'm not a
Yes.
Marvel guy.
Yes.
I don't Marvel.
Dylan Wang. Dylan Wang, Chinese actor and singer.
No. I don't
Okay,
know.
7-time Olympic medalist sprinter Andre DeGrassi.
Yes, I know who that is. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jason White Chocolate Williams, and that's how it's
Oh, yeah.
phrased.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we all
And
know
former King's Guard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is the roster.
Okay.
We coached by Giannis Antetokounmpo,
I know who
Future
that
Bowl.
is. Yeah.
Future Bowl. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Future Chicago Bull.
I know who that is.
who will be joined by his brothers coaching.
Okay. Don't know who-
Mookie
Of course.
Betts,
Mookie
I
Betts.
remember Mookie
I
Betts.
know Mookie.
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah.
Do you know Anthony Anderson?
Yes, Anthony Anderson. Yeah,
Yeah.
the actor. Yeah.
And
yeah.
NBA top development trainer Chris Brickley. There you
Okay,
go.
all right.
That
Good
is the
stuff.
all-star celebrity. Are
All
they
right.
a celebrity or not?
Thank you, Raj. We appreciate it. Bleck and Abdalla, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. Big E, former WWE champion and defensive lineman in Iowa, will join Bleck and Abdalla next, right here from Radio Row in San Francisco.
It's the biggest game on the planet, and we are there all week long, broadcasting live from good old San Fran, site of Super Bowl 60 on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. We're live from Radio Row in downtown San Francisco, hanging out with you on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375. And now joining Bleck and Abdalla on the set, Big E, former WWE champion. He played defensive line at Iowa, former college football player. Here to hang out and to talk some football and to talk about the Super Bowl with Bleck and Abdalla. What's up, Big E?
Not too much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. When you look at this matchup, and when we kind of look at Seahawks, Patriots, the storylines to get to this point, I don't think any of us really expected either team to get here.
Right.
But some of the conversation has been like, now that we look in hindsight on the season, Seattle might be one of those teams that we look at and say, hey, they might have been one of the best teams we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, and I'm rooting for Sam Darnold. I love the story. I think a lot of these young quarterbacks, I'm from Tampa, so I think of like Baker as well. But a lot of these quarterbacks who kind of get discarded and people feel like, they're not what we thought. But seeing Sam Darnold have the kind of season he's had, to see him emerge again has really been a lot of fun to watch. So I'm rooting for the Seahawks. I'm rooting for a great game, but I love his story, and I love watching the rise of the Seahawks this season.
We've talked about that a lot, how sometimes these quarterbacks, it takes 3 or 4 or 5 stops sometimes to finally find their footing. With Baker, 4 stops, Sam Darnold now 5 stops. Sometimes, with wrestlers, you got to have a few different personalities before you find your identity and your footing. There's some similarities between that and finding your own, like a coach that finally you melds with you, or an offensive coordinator that finally molds with you. Sam Darnold's going to have a whole new offensive coordinator next year now that his coach is moving on to take over the Raiders. How are there some similarities between that and what you used to do with WWE?
No, absolutely. I think you're spot on because it really takes the right resources, and people have to believe in you. So if you don't have that around you, and I think too often we see that in the NFL, is we see certain quarterbacks who might not be a coach's ideal pick, and sometimes they're just not right in the right system. They don't have the right environment around them to really help them succeed. And same thing in WWE is sometimes the people who make the creative decisions don't really see it in you, or they have you slotted in a role that you're really not best for. And we experienced a bit of that in the New Day when we first started, 11 years ago. A lot of people they didn't really see it. They didn't get the gimmick. They didn't understand. And sometimes you just have to keep pounding the pavement. You have to keep working until people understand. So, yeah, there are definitely some parallels there with fit and having the right team around you.
Oh, I would also add to that is like you taking it on your own to develop yourself, right? Like, and I think that's what's kind of been interesting about Baker and Darnold is that both of them had to develop, and you could blame the past experiences like the Jets and the Browns for the reasons that they didn't develop, but it's also like the player has to get better. And Sam Darnold is a better player today than he was 5 years ago. Same with Baker Mayfield. And I'm sure as an individual trying to make it in the WWE, I think you said it well, where it's like someone's opinion of you is kind of what dictates whether or not you get it done. And you have to make sure that you have all of your stuff taken care of and you're getting better each and every day.
Absolutely. And that's what we really did with the New Day is we decided, look, no one put us together. No one put the three of us together. No one told us this is the idea. We said this is what we need to do to save our careers. And look, I also, with the evaluation, the show that I'm hosting that comes out on Sumer Sports YouTube page February 12th, we talk about college prospects. And I think of Fernando Mendoza. And one of the things I love hearing him talk about his process, because obviously Coach Signetti at Indiana has done a fabulous job developing him. but he also talks about some of the technology that he uses. He'll use, I don't know if it's a Google Vision Pro, but he uses that to kind of visualize a lot of the things that he's able to do. So I love this era of quarterbacks. There's so many resources they have, from whether it's coaches, whether it's private tutors, whatever it is, but also technology. And I think the best players, that it's your goal, and you have to take it upon yourself to make sure you're the best player you can be.
You played at Iowa. I see the Iowa
Yes,
patch.
sir.
The last 3 champions have been from the Big Ten. What do you think of Indiana winning this year? It's
I
crazy.
love it, man. It is the best sports story in college football since I've been alive. You never see in our sport, you don't see basement dwellers like Indiana. When I played there, like go into Bloomington, it's barren. There was no energy, there was no life there. They weren't very good. But man, seeing what Signetti's built there, it is real. Also, I had no idea the alumni base was that massive. Like, I didn't know there were so many Indiana fans in the country. Yes, yeah, and rightfully so. But it has been such a fun story, and I think it really, that story, the Indiana's rise, only happens because of this current era where we have the transfer portal, we have NIL, and they've been so smart about finding experienced players. Not a lot of guys, because I think sometimes a lot of programs, they'll bet on guys who have potential. They're raw, but they haven't really gotten it done on the field. And Signetti's taken a lot of smaller school guys, a lot of the JMU guys. I think of Roman Hemby came from Maryland. A lot of guys who have production. They might not have done it at Ohio State or a lot of the big schools, but they've had production elsewhere. They come into Indiana, they get further developed, and they play so smart. They play sound football. I really think when I look at that team, I think everyone is playing at their very best. Everyone is playing optimally, and it is such a joy. As a Big Ten homer, it's very cool to see, look, 3 different Big Ten programs winning the last 3 years, and one of them is freaking Indiana.
Exactly.
What are the odds?
Well, it's surprising. Like, we love college football, and one thing that has always been the history and the tradition of college football, the SEC, especially in the last 20 years, has been the dominant power. And to see the Big Ten in the last 3 years kind of flex back, and how NIL and the transfer portal has really changed everything, it's pretty fascinating to see how it's an even playing field now across the country. You can win from anywhere. Indiana just showed us that that's the case.
Well, some people are saying now that the age of the bag man behind the scenes, now that it's all open and everyone can get paid, a lot of people, I'm not saying it, a lot of people are saying now things are a little bit more level, now that it's not just the SEC walking up with 10 grand in Letterman's jacket. But, I think it's great for our sport. Even I look at Texas Tech as well. Yeah. And look at what Cody Campbell has helped build with what he's funded. So now you have a lot of these schools who typically, like, your interest, if you're an Indiana fan 3-4 years ago, your interest in the season is pretty much starting to die by November. You know what I mean? If not earlier. Now what I love is a lot of these programs have a lot more skin in the game going into the playoffs, going into the end of the season is really, I feel like there's more hope for a lot of these college fan bases now.
Tell us about the evolution. You have a draft series coming up. The evaluation.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You're good. You're not the first person to say it, by the way.
On YouTube, it's a draft series, a 10-part series. This is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, man. It was such a joy. So this will come out on February 12th on the Sumer Sports YouTube page. But, man, we sit down with some of the most brilliant minds from scouting, from the GM world, and we also sit down with legends. So I had a chance, many episodes. We have 10 episodes where we break down a different position each episode. I sit down with Mike Mayock. I sit down with John Itzig, with Jeff Robinson, Eric Stokes, these former scouts and GMs who've been doing this for such a long time, breaking down the game. And we look at this current crop of young players who are coming out from college into the NFL. And then we also pair that with Sumer Sports and their incredible technology, their analytics, and we break down the game in such an interesting way. We also have these roundtables. I love our roundtable discussions where we talk about, what interests me is this Ruben Bain arm length conversation. Is he going to kick inside to DT? So we break a lot of that down, and it's a mix of the analytics, of the AI, and also of the scouts as well. And look, I got to sit down and talk to Eli Manning. I got to talk to Marshall Faulk. I got to talk to Joe Thomas. So many legends of the game, Super Bowl MVPs, Pro Football Hall of Famers, and we're giving you the best insight. For me, I don't love hearing the loud talking heads who are just trying to make points. I want to hear from the very best who've been doing this forever.
Thank you, Big E. We appreciate it. Former WWE superstar Bleck and Abdalla will be back here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from San Francisco, the site of Super Bowl 60. Westwood One Sports presents Bleck and Abdalla.
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM channel 375, noon to 3 Eastern, each and every day right here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can also call us at 310-840-4910, live from Radio Row in San Francisco. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla. Jim Rome takes over at 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports. Lots to talk about with the NFL. And a lot to get to, previewing the Super Bowl 60, Patriots and the Seahawks. We do have breaking news in the NBA right now, which we'll keep our eyes on. The trade deadline is Thursday at 3 Eastern on coming up this week in the NBA. Mm-hmm. There is a trade that just went down. Jaren Jackson was traded from the Grizzlies to the Utah Jazz. A lot of pieces moving with this trade as well, but the most notable part of this trade is that the Grizzlies are trading Jaren Jackson Jr. and 3 other players to Utah for 4 players and 3 future first-round picks. So this is a big trade from Shams Charania on ESPN right now, reporting that Jaren Jackson Jr. is being moved to Utah, which is interesting because it's a signal. Just a brief thought on the NBA. I know it's Super Bowl.
What did Jaren Jackson do to deserve this?
Well, I mean, it sounds like punishment, right? But it also signifies 2 interesting aspects of this. Utah is trying to pair Jaren Jackson Jr. with Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George, Walker Kessler, those individuals, a young team trying to move up. And then the Grizzlies, this is going to be a sell-off, right? Like now Memphis is looking to rebuild what they had, which is always funny. And Bleck and Abdalla, we always point out it's hilarious when a team who hasn't accomplished anything is then trying to rebuild. What are you rebuilding? You're rebuilding a rebuild?
Yeah.
Like the Grizzlies, the Grindhouse, they never actually accomplished something.
No, you rebuild.
Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant, that thing fizzled faster than a budding young team I've ever seen in NBA history. Like, that team was the next it group, and they fizzled out quickly.
Yeah,
quickly.
Well, the way you keep your job, if you're a GM, if you're an ownership group, obviously, if you're a coaching staff, if you're perpetually rebuilding, that's how you keep your job. If you are making these trades and you're saying, well, we've got this move, and if you're trying to consistently rebuild, that's how you stay employed, right? And so if this is your next rebuild and you're constantly rebuilding the foundation and tearing down the walls, if you're constantly remodeling your house and your house is never finished and you're constantly remodeling, that's how it is, right?
Well, there's a lot of dust.
Yeah, there's always dust.
You're living amongst a lot of dust.
Exactly, and your contractor's always collecting a paycheck, right? If you're constantly suggesting a remodel. The bathroom's next, that bathroom's finished, you start the kitchen, that kitchen's done, you start the next bathroom, that bathroom's over with, oh, and now we got to do the basement, that basement's done, oh, now that bathroom needs to be remodeled again. So this is what the Grizzlies are doing. They're constantly rebuilding and remodeling.
So the official information from ESPN.com, Grizzlies trade Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz for a 7-player deal. Memphis sending Jackson to Utah. Memphis will receive Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, and George Niang. 3 first-round draft picks as well. Utah acquires Jock Landale, Vince Williams in the deal, which was completed 2 days before the trade deadline per the story on ESPN.com. Jackson is 26. He's a 2-time All-Star. He's a former NBA Defensive Player of the Year. He was that in 2023. He has 3 years remaining on a 5-year, $205 million deal with a player option in 29-30. So Jaren Jackson Jr. is a big-time player, maybe hasn't lived up to the highest level of expectations that he's accomplished at this point, but it is certainly an interesting move for the Utah Jazz to acquire a player like this, and the dominoes will now start to fall. We saw the story last night in the NBA that James Harden, a part of a group, the Los Angeles Clippers, in the last month have gone on a run. The Clippers, arguably, in the last month, they've been the best team in the NBA. And I'm not saying that to be like shocking or to like that's just what it is. The Clips have played good basketball. And once again, James Harden doesn't want to be involved with a team that is heading in the right direction. I get it. It'd be an uphill climb for the Clippers to actually win the conference this year. But the fact that I saw the headline last night that James Harden and the Clippers are trying to figure out a destination for him to go to before the trade deadline, I was like, hold up. Haven't the Clippers been one of the best teams in the league in the last couple of weeks? Like, what is going on?
I don't understand if he wants out, if they want him out, if they're concerned with are they doing too much winning all of a sudden, and now he just doesn't want to be a part of it. So it's confusing. But like you said, once again, it's not surprising that something confusing is going along with a James Harden location. And it was surprising last night to get that notification, but also at the same time, it's not, because it's James Harden, and this is what he does. This is what is always surrounding James Harden. Something's going well. It's either something is he doesn't get along with players, he's not getting along with the coaching staff, whatever it is, and now he wants out, and now they have to find a trade partner by Thursday, in the next 2 days. In about 48 hours from now, they have to find a trade partner somehow to move James Harden, whether he wants to be there or not. And if they can't, then what is he going to do? He's going to be disgruntled for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and it's a weird kind of thing to kind of look at with James Harden, because he essentially is going to go down as one of the greatest players in league history to not have won a championship. So I understand for his thought of it is I want to win a championship. Nothing bothers me more in sports than greats who just are not secure with themselves, and so they just want to latch on. You ever see the National Geographic nature films or movies or clips online? And here comes the great white shark swimming through the ocean. And there's those little sucker fish that have the little suction cup on the top of their head, and they connect to the bigger fish, and they just eat the scraps of the bigger one. Nothing's more annoying than the guy who could theoretically get it done if he played his best ever, just being like, nah, I don't care about these guys. I just want to go somewhere else where it'll be easier. I just want an easier path.
Oh, maybe he doesn't want to play in the playoffs. He's afraid of a little competition.
Well,
competition in the playoffs.
You can tell that because the rumored team is Cleveland, and so if he goes to Cleveland, that would make some sense for the Cavs. The Cavs need a shot in the arm, and if the Clippers got back Darius Garland, that could make a lot of sense for the Clippers too, for the long-term future of the Clippers. Mm-hmm. Now, I just think overall for James Harden's legacy, whatever that is, he's just going to be known as a guy that bounced from team to team chasing a championship because he wasn't actually good enough to do it himself.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because you've got a legacy of a player who is not going to be known for how good of a player he actually was. It's going to be known for all the drama, the stuff like this, the close to the trade deadline, him wanting out of certain situations, the times in the playoffs where he's gone cold and can't make shots, the times that teams have been so close and it's like, listen, if we just stay together for one more year, maybe we can make another run at this and actually win a championship. And Harden just goes, no, I'm out. Sorry, I don't want to be a part of this. That's what Harden's going to be known for, and it's just going to happen again with this situation with the Clippers. That's what Harden's going to be known for.
Yeah, it is. And so now before we get yelled at here on Radio Row, previewing the Super Bowl for talking any more about the NBA, 3 Eastern on Thursday, we'll be here. We'll cover it. If anything breaks, we'll talk about it. The breaking news, Jaren Jackson Jr. being traded from the Grizzlies to the Utah Jazz. And the third name of the NBA, kind of keep your eyes on this part of the story, is what will happen with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And will he be moved before Thursday at 3 Eastern? We'll keep our eyes on the situation. I think in the last 24 hours, I haven't seen anything new. No new rumors or thoughts or anything. I know on Sunday there was an idea that because the betting markets seem to have shifted with where Giannis would be playing next year, and surprising to you and I who live in Chicago, it was surprising to see for some reason people are putting money down on the betting markets, suggesting that Giannis will be a Bull, and that Poly Market is also suggesting the same thing in the last couple of days, which was surprising to me.
Yeah, I said to you, either someone knows something or someone very dumb with a lot of money put something down as a Giannis will be a Bull in the next week or so, or a few days. This was the other day when this started to move. And whatever reason it is, there's rumors that he's been seen in Chicago. There's pictures of him in Chicago.
Real estate stories.
We had
Chicago.
we had the story that
hold on. Who told you first about that?
Yes.
That I saw it in Crane's Chicago, and I brought it to the air. And then a full day later,
Yes.
Are you the one that put all the money on Giannis going to the Bulls? Did you throw off the market?
Listen, Raj, if I had that much money to impact the gambling markets, what a dream that would be. How great would that be? Right? Think about it.
There's
The three of us on a work trip in San Francisco, the things we would be doing if we would all be taking separate Waymos wherever we go to sit in those.
We need a lot more scallops, a lot of soup.
Yeah.
Lot of soup.
See, the things we would do.
I'd get that $26 duck soup I've been eyeing down the street if we had that, if Chris had that kind of sway in Poly Market.
All right, so there you go.
I'll tell you this, though. As far as the Chicago connection goes, Chris and I, we do our show based out of Chicago. We did a show in Chicago for 20 years. We know a lot about the Bulls. This will not happen.
Yeah,
I will tell you this right now. This will not happen. It will be the most shocking thing in the world if we get to the trade deadline in about 48 hours that Giannis is a Bull.
Hey, they traded for Dennis Rodman once. They're not afraid to make a big trade.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
Here's your clip. Arturas Karnisovas, who runs the organization,
I know him. He was in Denver.
Correct.
Yeah.
Incapable of pulling off said move. He can. There is no chance in hell that the Bulls organization would be able to pull that off unless Giannis said,
"Get me to Chicago.
I need to be traded, and the only place I will go to play basketball is Chicago." That's it. The Bulls front office is incapable of pulling off said move. They may be the worst front office in the NBA.
As Bulls guys, would you want them to? If it was on the table,
yeah,
you
of
guys
course.
have said
Yeah,
to me you think he's easy to defend.
Yeah,
though,
but
in a
the
7-game
difference is
Yeah,
right
but-
now they are the definition of mid with nowhere to go. If you acquire someone like Giannis, you now are at least in the conversation of trying to win the conference, and you got to figure out the rest of the stuff, which is a better life to live than the team that is just stuck at 9 or 10 in the conference every year playing the Hawks in the playing game with ownership thinking because you get one extra home game to host in the play-in tournament, that's a win because you get to pocket $2 million for the tickets, right? Like that's the way in Chicago. That's how the Reinsdorfs think.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pull off
This
the
is
Giannis
the team
thing,
I grew up for watching Michael Jordan play for.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
the
you're
telling
outside
us.
perspective
Raj,
blows me away.
that ain't it, my man.
You're
That
telling
ain't
us,
it.
man.
It's a sad state of affairs because there is probably in the world of sports no better team with a better brand around the world than the Bulls that don't actually live up to what they should be. Cowboys are probably close.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys are probably close. But around the world, everyone knows the Chicago
They know that
Bulls.
red and black. Yeah.
They know it. It's a sick logo. It's never changed. It's beautiful. They don't. The franchise does not operate like a world-class franchise.
Maybe this is a chance to change that, turn that page.
Maybe. So we'll keep our eyes. And there you go. A little NBA talk here on Radio Row.
Just a
How
little
about
bit.
that?
Just a little bit.
How about that?
Just a little bit.
Raj thought
By the
that.
way, I just saw Cam Hayward walk in again. I think he's going to set up his own couch again.
Okay, he was
I'm
setting that up
telling
here
you,
on Radio
man.
Row.
I'm telling you.
He had like bushes.
This man was Walter
say
Payton
the
Man of
indoor-
the year.
That's why he's doing the manual labor.
But he had the bushes. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
Like not like between the ferns. He had like full hedge
Yeah.
around his little couch.
Yeah, and that's why he's doing the manual labor. That's Walter Payton Man of the Year. That's stuff you
That's
do.
how
You-
he got that patch.
Yeah, you help out the little people, man.
He's a dude, man.
He doesn't just show up and sit down on the set and pop the headphones on. He's doing the manual labor.
He's like Adam Abdalla walking around with our webcam. You and Cam Hayward are one
Me
and the
and
same.
Cam Hayward, just the same.
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So we're here on Radio Row. If you're watching us on social media this week,
You can
follow
thank
us.
Abdalla.
Yes, follow us on YouTube at Bleck and Abdalla Show. Like and subscribe. We have the live feed running all week long. We have moved locations. Third hour of the show each and every day. we jump to the table. We make room.
We need a name for the table. What do we call it? Is this the auxiliary table? Is it the kids table? Is it the back?
The kids table? I like the kids table.
The kids table is
yeah.
kind of funny because like the behind the scenes reasoning is that we get out of the way for TV so they can set up the Jim Rome set.
Yeah.
So we bounce to the kids table for the final and third hour
it's a
of the
frantic
program.
little 4.5 minutes.
Well, like Jim Rome walked up like for the last 5 minutes of our last hour, and it was like, we gotta go. Hopefully, the adults just showed up.
Hopefully we did something cool. Well, but
it really should be the kids table then. The adults showed up.
and like what happens is like we have to go around the like convention center to get to this spot, even though
this is walled.
we are very close. We're walled off to where the actual TV set is. So it is like a NASCAR pit crew.
And every radio station is like a little mini TV studio now with cameras and lights. And
Move the camera. We've got a different
ducking
setup.
and dodging to get over here.
We've got like 4 different people helping us. Like it's great.
Yeah, if you're watching Jim Rome or Nick Costos in the morning,
we'll see him behind.
You'll see us behind them. Yeah.
Behind where they are broadcasting live, we're sitting at a table directly behind them.
Yeah.
So like once Jim gets up and running later this afternoon, you can see us in the background. When Nick was on this morning, you can see us in the background. So it's a lot of fun. This is a great time. We love being here on Radio Row, hanging out, getting ready for the Super Bowl.
It's awesome being here with you guys, man. We've had a blast.
Oh, yeah. It's been a great time. Absolutely. Bleck and Abdalla here on Radio Row, sponsored by Robinhood. You can expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. And I think a part of the fun, right, like is just hanging out. It's just like the people you see. And Fred Warner was walking by earlier. There's all kinds of players that have been walking around today.
Yeah, I saw 2 of my Broncos just a minute ago. Nick Benito
really?
and Patrick Surtain. We're just walking around. They had sweaters on for bounties.
Yeah.
They're here for doing something for
But
bounty.
they weren't picture worthy. You didn't stop.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I got one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I made like the sliding. See, I saw everyone huddling. You skate to where the puck is going, not where it is.
Yeah.
So I saw the pad.
Yes.
Got in the way, got the shot.
I saw a bunch of people filming them. We were talking to Big E, and I was like, why is there a big group of people? And then you look in the middle, there's 2 very tall gentlemen with bright green sweaters on. It's like, oh, yes, there's 2 players representing bounty, and that's just why. Yeah.
With every step thinking, I should be playing this week. I should be playing this week.
I am shocked that you didn't throw the headset off and chase them down. Being a diehard Broncos fan like you are,
I have
that's a
both
big
their
moment.
jerseys from Fanatics.
Excuse
and
me,
mine were good quality.
Excuse me,
they were good quality.
Excuse
my Benito
me,
and my Surtain.
One day we'll bring it to the show. When we had Caleb Williams on our show in Chicago, we were the first ones to put him on after he was drafted by the Bears.
Nice.
And I'm a USC fan as well. And at the end of the interview, I said that to him.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Williams, I really liked you at USC. He gave me a fight on and a bear down. So,
boy.
So there you go.
Like Chris was a Make-A-Wish kid. Like it was, like he gave him the, all right, fight on and
I would probably
bear
tell
down.
I would tell Nick Benito, you're my mom's favorite player, which is true. My mom every week, I love Benito. He always comes through when you need him.
That's great.
Former Falcon and Seahawk Patrick Kearney will join us here on the set coming up in just moments. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the corner of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen in the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with early exit.
Here's how it works. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. If you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BNA. That's code BNA for Bleck and Abdalla and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states and present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until February 8th, 2026.
You're talking Super Bowl this week, and we're living it live from San Francisco, grabbing the stories, the guests, and the moments that matter on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
We're having a great time here on Radio Row, talking football, hanging out live from San Francisco ahead of Super Bowl 60. The Seahawks and the Patriots will be here all week. Patrick Kearney now joins us, the former Falcon, the former Seahawk, former Defensive Player of the Year, joins Bleck and Abdalla here on Radio Row. What's up, Patrick?
Not a lot. Just excited for my Hawks. Building up to the big day here Sunday.
A lot of the conversation here is that everyone's trying to kind of make the Patriots seem like a good story. And then people say, well, Seattle's a better team. Like, they're likely to win this game. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with them. But emotions aside, I agree with them. New England, they've been a fun team to watch this year. The turnaround story is amazing to do that in 1 year. I think it'll be a very, very good game. I think it'll be a close one. I think we're in for a good show on Sunday. But emotions aside, I still think Seattle edges them out.
For sure.
What's impressed you most about the Seattle defense this year?
The speed. They're playing, or maybe it's really the effort. Right? Every team has speed. It's how much you choose to apply it. And the Seattle defensive players have created a culture that says we apply our speed, and we're going to attack. We're going to swarm. We're going to create turnovers. Defensive linemen causing fumbles in the running game, things of that nature. Linebackers with interceptions. These things that suggest guys are moving around where a lot of people think, no, that guy's, sort of middle third. Like, well, then why is he making an interception in the deep third, right? Because they're applying their speed, and that ball's in the air. Everyone sticks their foot in the ground and swarms.
Like some of what I think is fascinating about the evolution of the NFL is a bit of a cat and mouse game, right? Offense goes smaller speed players, defense then tries to balance, and then the offense immediately says, all right, since we got smaller defensive backs out there, we're throwing 3 tight ends out there. What do you make of the way that this season has played out, where a lot of the teams have kind of passed out of bigger formations, and then seeing defenses like the Seahawks, like the Patriots, counteract those offensive geniuses, in air quotes, kind of try and play that cat and mouse game, offense and defense?
Yeah, I think that the teams that have done it well are the teams that have, picked the right kind of players. I think of in Seattle, Nick Emenwari, the rookie comes along and, listed as a safety, but making a lot of plays in the backfield. Creating players that aren't necessarily position specific, but rather great athletes that you can fit up against a 3 tight end set or put in nickel.
As a defensive guy, it's got to warm your heart a little bit to see 2 defensive-minded head coaches coaching in the Super Bowl. All these offensive guys are kind of going to the wayside a little bit for a year.
Defense is having its day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. It's great to see because to your point, the cat and mouse game, and offense has been sort of the winning side of the ball, maybe the 3-4 previous seasons, and it's like the defensive minds kind of got onto them this year.
Okay, take us inside the game plan. If you are defending Sam Darnold or if you're defending Drake May, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? What would your mindset be to face off against both of those quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, defending against Drake May, what I'm sure Seattle's taken notice of is the protection schemes that they came up with against Denver. Another great 4-man pass rush, and they left the chippers in. And I've often wondered why offensive coordinators don't do that more, why they don't delay their routes by a half second to buy their quarterback 3 seconds. To let those edge rushers just sit there without anybody to consider except the tackle is too easy, especially when it's against a great pass rush. So I expect to see a lot more of that from New England. I would imagine there's some maybe what we call replacement rushes, where if you're in a man scheme, a man zone scheme, and there's a strong safety eyeing that tight end, and he turned out to chip the defensive end. They switch roles right away. Now you got a free runner that runs a 4.5 coming downhill on a quarterback, speeding up that decision time. And then, of course, all of that is null and void if you don't stop the run.
Right.
And both teams have potent running attacks that, would love to just operate that way all game. So, it comes down to the trenches like so often it does.
That's the way it should be.
It's easier
right?
that way. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If my pass is only a 2-yard toss, it's a lot less risky than tossing it downfield.
Yeah, you said that you expect Seattle to win this game, but if New England does win this game, how can they win this game?
How can they win this game? I think it's going to be getting points somewhere other than offense. It'll be a special teams touchdown or defensive touchdown, or at least a defensive getting a turnover in the red zone, so that their offense gets at least one layup score. I think without that, it'll be a challenge for them.
Something that we've talked to some of the other former players that we've talked to in the last 2 days is the Pro Bowl games are tonight here in San Francisco. And it seems to us as fans, it's very watered down and it's not as cool as it used to, or it's not something to kind of celebrate. As a former great player in the league, what do you think of the way that the current players handle the Pro Bowl, accepting the invites, and then the fact that it's like a flag football game now? Like, what do you think of that?
Candidly, I think it's time to put it to bed. I think there's so many. I understand the reasoning behind it, because it's a bad risk reward structure for players to go out and play an incremental, violent game with a drastic pay reduction.
Right.
So I get the business side of it, and players, not wanting to do that. But at the same time, there's a lot of great players for whom that was a great honor.
Yeah.
And it's just not that anymore. I talk about my All-Pro accolades anymore. I don't talk about my Pro Bowl accolades.
Right. Exactly. Patrick Kearney joining Bleck and Abdalla, and you're here on behalf of Better Brain. Tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. So Better Brain's a company. It's a cognitive health company, Alzheimer's dementia mitigation prevention company that I came across about 18 months ago, got further endeared to it after spending a few months reading the research around which the company was built. And, for the first time in my retirement from the NFL, I felt like I maybe had some control over any damage that was done for my playing days. Up until that point, I was choosing ignorance as bliss, as I think a lot of guys do. And the empowerment I felt reading the research, understanding the process was nothing short of amazing, and has become something I'm eager to share with the NFL fraternity and get out there, so the guys who are reading the sad stories that come along every now and then don't have to feel so fatalistic about that being their eventual fate.
Yeah, and it is certainly something that can help everyone, but also football players at every level. College, high school kids, it's something that football players across the country, and it's not just the NFL players that have to worry about this post-playing career.
Absolutely. I mean, look, this isn't just my football career. I was an ice hockey player growing up, a wrestler growing up, a lacrosse player growing up. I was hitting my head a lot growing up. And so there's a toll taken there. But the great news with Better Brain is, yes, that is a factor that they can lend towards Alzheimer's dementia, but it's one of many factors. And the other factors you have a say in, and you have control over, and you can not only drastically reduce your future risk of Alzheimer's dementia, you can currently amplify your cognitive health and operate optimally in the here and now.
That's awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, hanging out with you this afternoon. Jim Rome is coming up at 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports. Abdalla, I mean, that's a part of the conversation that when we look at it overall, it is something that, you got to feel bad for players who they put their health on the line each and every time they step on a field. It's pretty impressive what they go through, and then to not have the help afterwards is something that they definitely need.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, you see with the NFL adding a bunch of games here, going to a 17 game schedule, then going to an 18 game schedule, and then adding, all these travel games and adding an international game to every team's schedule. It just says, it sends mixed messages when you say you care about player safety every single time, and that you want players to be safer, and that you care about player safety, but then you're making them play an extra game, and that you're making them go overseas and have these long travel times, and that you're doing all this stuff to counteract that. It sends a mixed message to the players that you're trying to protect and that people want to watch every single week.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's where the conversation Super Bowl week, right? And that's why, it's a game that we all love watching, right? And a part of what makes pro football and college football and high school football on Friday nights so great is that there is an element of danger.
Yeah.
It's not something that you and I are going through, but the stakes of that taking place, I think adds an element to why we enjoy the sport so much. I think some of that is, people point to, there's points or touchdowns or they're throwing the football. But also, like, if you're an old enough football fan, you recall when the big hits were celebrated on national TV.
Yeah.
You know, right? Like there's nothing more
jacked up. Remember that?
Yeah, right, of course. And when ESPN would have the jacked up segments before Monday Night Football on TV, it was something we all look forward to. It wasn't like, those jerks were celebrating guys who were bashing their heads together. No, we all
we did it with them.
Jacked.
Yes.
Muhsin Muhammad went over the middle and he got jacked up.
Exactly.
You know, like, and it's, you know, it's the same thing. You want to see if you're driving down the highway and there's a car accident, how many people hit the brake and then they look
the
over.
Gapers block, you know, because everybody's watching.
Everyone's got to take a look. So it is definitely something to keep our eyes on and talk about while we're previewing the Super Bowl. It's Bleck and Abdalla, Westwood One Sports, and the Westwood One Sports app. We've got more coverage live from Radio Row in San Francisco. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports.
This is the week the entire NFL season builds to, and we've got everything you need to know. Super Bowl stories, news, and every angle that actually matters on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
All right, Radio Row's hopping. It's Tuesday, day 2, and this place is packed. You want to talk about yesterday at points, especially in the afternoon. It was like things were settling down. People got out of here pretty quick yesterday.
Yeah.
The place is hopping right now. There are people everywhere, and there's hundreds of radio stations, different media sites. There's cameras everywhere. The TV sets are all set up, ready to go. I'm looking at the Pro Football Talk live set, Peacock, ESPN, Bleacher Report. They look awesome, and our wonderful set for Jim Rome is all ready to go here on Westwood One Sports. He's got the countdown to his show starting in 17 minutes and 25 seconds. Boom. We can see it. We're right behind the Jim Rome desk.
Yeah.
So
this isn't even the peak yet.
No, I know. The rest of the week
Wednesday,
should be pretty
Thursday
cool.
is like the heavy days.
Make sure you check out the Bleck and Abdalla podcast on Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, wherever you find your podcasts. You can find the Bleck and Abdalla show, and also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's a new channel. You got to get in there, like and subscribe. We've been broadcasting live throughout the week from Radio Row. The video footage is right there at Bleck and Abdalla show. So like and subscribe there. Thank you to Raj and Laura for producing today's show, Bleck and Abdalla. We'll be back tomorrow, noon to 3 Eastern, right here on Westwood One Sports. And Jim Rome is coming up in just 16 minutes and 41 seconds right here on Westwood One Sports. I can see the big countdown.
Starting soon.
He has a big countdown to the start of his show on the set. So I can see it right there. So Jim Rome coming up in just moments right here on Westwood One Sports. Today's been a fantastic day. I love that we're taking step-by-step and previewing the Super Bowl matchup. And I do think that the unique perspectives that we've gotten from Sean Merriman, Patrick Kearney, from all the different people, Ross Tucker today, talking about the quarterback matchups, the head coaching matchups, the defensive schematics is kind of like a theme that we saw. So if you missed any of those interviews today, check it out on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, and also on the Odyssey app. So
you guys thought the Bulls wouldn't make a trade.
I know.
You got breaking news for us?
Well, here's the thing. There is news in the NBA. Shams Charania reporting just about 15 minutes ago, just in. Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit have agreed to a multi-team deal that sends Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley Jr. to the Bulls, Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric to the Pistons, sources tell ESPN. Detroit will also receive a 2026 first-round protected swap with the Timberwolves. So there's a lot moving in this trade. The Pistons are the best team in the Eastern Conference to this point in the season, trading away Jaden Ivey, a former first-round pick, to Chicago, who Ivey really hasn't quite lived up to what they thought he would be when the Pistons drafted him, and they obviously don't need him. Adding some shooting with Huerter, and then also Saric, who was just moved to Chicago this past week in the previous deal that took place in the NBA to kind of get the trade season conversations going. So this season, Jaden Ivey averaging 8 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist per game for the Detroit Pistons. He will now be heading to Chicago. From a Chicago perspective, as Raj mentioned and said that, we didn't think they would do anything. This is a buy low, hope for a player that was drafted with the 5th pick overall in 2022 to see if he could turn into something.
Okay.
Kind of a mid deal once again for the Chicago Bulls. Not something that's really going to get you to that next level that you're looking for. But for the Pistons, you add shooting in Kevin Huerter and some playmaking, big man ability in Saric. So
what's Minnesota doing here?
They're getting a what is it? It's a first pick swap with the Pistons.
But also, did they clear anything? Are they getting rid of players?
I don't know. I haven't seen the full details on that because you're right. So Minnesota is one of the teams that the report from yesterday with Milwaukee talking about Giannis to other teams. They haven't accepted offers. They're going back and forth with teams. Minnesota, New York, Miami, and Golden State are the 4 teams.
Are they clearing away for some money?
Perhaps
they're clearing away for Giannis. Is that what they're doing?
Or the pick swap could be a pick that maybe they could include.
Interesting.
As a first round pick to include in a deal for Giannis. That might be it. You might be on to
Interesting.
That.
Why? I'm doing the wind horse. If you can see it on camera, why would they be doing that?
Well, it's also, like to get these deals done, usually you have to include a third team.
Yeah.
The way it works with the salary and the future first round draft picks. So it is possible. The deadline comes up Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So that's a big name. There are 2 names that are on the table right now. James Harden apparently doesn't want to play with the team that's playing well. So Harden wants out, and the Clippers are probably cool with him moving on. We've all been around people like that where they're like, "Hey, I think I'm going to leave," and you're like, "All right, see you."
I think it's too good.
See you,
here.
pal. See ya. All right, we'll be fine. And then the other one is the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation. Outside of the Super Bowl and the conversations here in San Francisco, if Giannis gets traded, that will be the biggest story in sports until we get to the weekend.
Yeah, are we going to start asking former players what they think of the Giannis trade on Friday?
Boy, wouldn't that be awesome if that were the case?
We've got former Seahawk here. So what do you think of the Giannis trade, and who do you think is going to win on Sunday?
I think that would be awesome.
I don't think he gets moved. We talked about this earlier when this was first floated by Shams last week, that this would be more beneficial to teams and to the Bucks if they were to do this in the offseason, just because you would get more bang for your buck, if you will, because pun intended, I guess. I didn't intend that pun right there.
Take a lap.
I'm sorry. I could hear. This place is big,
Just do some up downs.
And so you could get more picks. You know where those picks would be.
Yeah.
Because the end of the season, you could do all that kind of stuff. And that's what I think they'll ultimately do. But with these moves done by Minnesota, who knows what they're doing? It could just be nothing. It could be something. They could be trying to do something. They could be gearing up for an offseason move. So, who knows? At least teams are trying to do something. It's good to see the teams are trying to do something.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Detroit is top of the Eastern Conference, 36-12, and they are a really good team. Probably the best team in the NBA that nobody is talking about. Cade Cunningham is leading the team with points, 25.2 per game. They just didn't need Jaden Ivey. He's a player that was only playing 16 minutes a game, giving you 8 per. So trading him away for a 3-point shooter in Kevin Huerter, I think adds to the complement of players with Thompson, Duncan Robinson, who's been fantastic for the Pistons this year. Tobias Harris has played well. Jalen Duran, all-star.
Mm-hmm.
What's refreshing? I'll say this, and I know once again, it's Super Bowl week. We shouldn't be diving into the weeds of NBA coverage, but the reserves came out for the East and the Western All-Stars this week. And with the East, it's a list of players that I'm guessing most of the non-basketball watching population even know the names.
Yeah.
There are a lot of names in the Eastern reserves that are worthy of being all-stars. And I'm sure people are like, who is that?
Well, and in that sport,
that's a problem.
That's something the NBA gets over the NFL now. with all of our Pro Bowl talk over the last,
Yeah,
named
for
an
sure.
NBA All-Star actually still means something.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Until
Yeah.
the game
Yeah.
is played, and it's a best of 3 with the world versus the American. It's some dumb,
Who's the NBA
convoluted
version of Justin Fields turning down invitations?
Well, but that's the difference, though.
it's
An
some
all-star,
dumb,
but an all-star
convoluted
selection means something. Like,
Yeah.
like we talked to, 2 former players today that have both said they stopped talking about their Pro Bowl selections when they're talking about their
because
accolades.
it's a joke. It's a joke.
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
It's tonight, right? The
Pro
Pro
Yeah,
Bowl
the
games.
Pro Bowl
Are
game
we-
is tonight.
I think it's like across the street.
Are we going?
Yeah.
You going?
No,
Abdalla, you
I'm
going?
not going.
You're a fan.
I'm not going to dignify that.
You don't
sham
like flag
with,
football?
with my presence.
Raj, you gonna go?
I think we're going to the Madden party tonight, guys.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
we
think we're going.
we're
got stuff to do.
That's right, baby.
We'll be at the
You
EA
don't need to
Madden
flex
party.
like that, Rod.
I know.
Come on.
I
You
wasn't
need to-
gonna say it.
When
you
I
need
heard
to-
it was a Madden party, you guys remember what I said?
You
Shrimp
need-
cocktail and pass the sticks. That's my kind of
You
party.
didn't need to flex like that. We just said we were busy. I mean, I mean,
Raj,
listen.
we'll be at the EA
We'll be at
Sports
the
Madden
Madden.
party tonight. Well, we're not gonna waste our time with a Pro Bowl. Boy, what type of elitist are we? Come on, Raj, we're the
You know what's funny?
underdogs.
I would go
We're
to
at
the
the-
Pro Bowl.
we're at the
if we were
kids'
here.
table.
Yeah,
Come
we're
on.
go to the
Kids
Pro
table.
Bowl.
We're at the kids' table.
Westwood
I
One
love
Sports.
Shador.
Yeah,
Let's go Buffs.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Kids' table.
I think maybe Raj should go and give us a full report on what he sees at the Pro Bowl games tonight.
Yeah. I like that idea.
I'll go
All
hang
right.
out with a bunch of Bears Pro Bowlers. Make you jealous.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, bear down. Tell Drew Dahlman and
Joe Tooney.
Joe Tooney, what up?
What does the lineman do in a flag football game?
You watch.
Just stand there.
Hang
What
out.
does Joe Tooney think of that? I want to know that. What does
Yeah.
Joe Tooney think of this?
Yeah, you hang out. Before we head out and hand it off to Jim Rome here on Westwood One Sports today, Abdalla acquired some soup
I
last
did.
night.
Yeah.
It's a big deal here on the Bleck and Abdalla show. I want to know how the soup was yesterday and what your plan of attack for today's securing soup for today's events.
Week.
So it is Super Week, a long-time bit on the Bleck and Abdalla show. If you've listened to us before during this week, where I find soups around the city. We are obviously in San Francisco, so I have to find soups around here in the great city of San Francisco. Last night we went to Skoma's, which was a great pick by Chris Bleck. I had the wild shrimp bisque, which was delicious. I chose that over the New England clam chowder, which was, they said, their famous clam chowder, but I chose the wild shrimp bisque. It was delicious.
You're a wild man.
Well, a wild man who was in his hotel room by 8:30 last night.
And going to the EA Sports party.
Yeah,
today.
to go to the EA Sports party tonight. So it was great. It was creamy, big chunks of fresh caught shrimp. It was awesome. A great way to start Super Week. There was some creme fraiche. There was freshly cut
Why do you
creme
say
fraiche.
it like that?
Because it's weird. Because I don't know. Because I
Because
don't have
it's
that.
weird.
Because I don't have that stuff normally. There were chives. There was some fresh cracked pepper in it. It was great. Out of 5 bowls, which is the rating system for Super Week, 4.5 out of 5 bowls. I'm now on a mission now that the show is over, coming up here to find my next bowl of soup.
You got 40 seconds before the show's over. The show isn't over yet.
Well, yeah,
So
but-
you don't have a plan of attack.
No,
yet.
no,
You're-
I do.
That's
no,
what
no,
you're going to
no,
do
I
the
do
moment
for
the
duck
show.
soup.
Let's
No,
go
today,
for the duck soup.
No, today I'm gonna. No, the duck soup is $26.
That's the grand finale. That
Yeah.
sounds like a Friday.
No, I
binge.
don't think that fits into the per diem. A $26 soup.
You could ask.
I mean,
Say Rome said it was okay. See if that gets it through.
Rome said it was cool.
Rome said we could get the duck
Try
soup.
the duck soup, bro.
Can you imagine? All right, we'll be back tomorrow, noon to 3 Eastern, right here on Westwood One Sports. It's Chris Bleck, Adam Abdalla. We'll hang out with you tomorrow right here on Westwood One Sports. Jim Rome is coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.